Recording in progress.
The Payson Council meeting for November 20th, 2024. I will go ahead and open this meeting with prayer. Our Father in heaven, as we come before thee this time, we're so very thankful for the many blessings that thou hast bestowed upon us, for the ability that we have of living in Payson City and being part of the state of Utah, and even greater, Father, we're appreciative of being part of the United States of America. We would ask thee to please watch over and continue to watch over and bless us, help us as city council and citizens to be able to make the right decisions for our future. We ask these things, Father, humbly, in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Janine Dean will now lead us in our pledge.
I am Payson. My deepest affection. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Janine. Okay, moving on, we'll go to see the consent agenda. There's one item on that, the approval of the November 6th, 2024 City Council minutes. Council, if there's any questions, if there's not any questions, I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, I just have, Kim could look at one correction for me. I think when we did talk about Spring Creek Landing, I talked about having an 8-foot fence, concrete fence between the Payson fruit growers and the Spring Creek buildings. And that wasn't in the minutes, but I could see, so if I did say that, we can find in the recording if we put that in. Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Council, any other? Okay, then I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, I motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded, roll call vote, starting with Council Hyatt.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
Council Rowley.
Yes.
Council Hewitt.
Yes.
Council Christensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to D petitions. Chamber Business Employee or Community Service Award. Diane, you want to take over?
Yes, very happily. This is a fun one. Well, I'm going to invite the Jimenez family to come up. They're receiving the Community Service Award. It was for the month of October. You just turn, and then they can see you out there.
Don't be a time to take pictures as well, so.
There are very many of you in here that don't know the Jimenez family and that know that they deserve this award as the community service award. As a family, they've served the Payson community for many years. They've organized and performed at the Festival Latino de Payson and Cinco de Mayo in Payson. So it's a lot of work that they put into those wonderful celebrations that we have. Those celebrations bring the many cultures in our community together, and we love that. This has brought a sense of inclusion to many families of all nationalities. Their son, Nathan, raise your hand, Nathan. He's also demonstrated their love of community by putting on a fundraiser where he rode his bike 110 miles and raised $4,080.32, which allowed him to get 20 new computers for a local school. And not a lot of people. They also perform as a family at local schools on Hispanic holidays to educate and bring joy to students. Their performance typically involves students dancing and singing, as well as their family performing popular Latin music. The Jimenez family brings happiness and inclusion to Payson, Santa Clara, and its surrounding communities. During COVID, I learned this from the mayor today, that the Jimenez family utilized the balcony on their home to do a concert for all of their neighbors. And I'm sure that that brought a lot of happiness during a hard time. So I know that the mayor would really appreciated
You bet.
that. So in 2023, Mayor Wright nominated the Jimenez family for the Congressional Hispanic Recognition Award. They donated their time to entertain the attendees at the award ceremony for this prestigious award. And that's a wonderful thing. You're an amazing asset to our community, and we really appreciate you all. Can you introduce everyone in your family?
Of course.
Thank
yes.
you.
Well, so this is my wife, and she's the beautiful voice she has. I mean, she's the face of what we do pretty much, and she's very patient with me and with the rest of the family, and carry on with all of us. And so this is Ian, and he's in the middle of the family. He's an amazing and a pretty smart kid, and he's actually been working a little bit on the youth court here in Payson. But so Nathan, well, you guys hear already about him, and he was helping in the youth court as well until he actually graduates, and he's in college now. He's doing great. He's pretty busy. I took him out of the homework right now, and he's like, "Let's go back home because I gotta." And the little one, that's Ruben, and he's always happy. He's an excellent student too, very obedient kid, and they all support us as a parents. I mean, and all the stuff that we do, and all the community service, and whatever, they're always ready to help. And I love these kids. I love my wife, and thank you so much. We love
Thank
Payson.
you. We're so happy to give you this. Down, shake your hands.
You can say it. They didn't have nothing for it. Perfect. Thank you. Sure.
Sure, yes, you want to come over? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, with that concert in the neighborhood, we put our chairs up in the backyard and listened to the concert. It was really a wonderful addition to what we were going through during COVID. And as it was said, I nominated them for the award, the Hispanic Congressional Heritage Award in 2023. They were so impressed with them, they had them come back and do the entertainment, as Diane said, for 2024. So thank you. Moving on, number 2, update from Spanish Fork Hospital. Megan, are you here? There you are.
Thank you for having me.
Right.
I have a presentation. Can I just go ahead and share that? I struggle just a little bit. Thank you. My name is Megan Johnson. I am the president and CEO for Spanish Fork Hospital. I am a South County resident, and I just have to say, him and his family, like, any of you want to go into healthcare, you are the epitome of everything that we do. Just the service, the quality, the giving, everything that we do every single day. We would love to have you in healthcare, but, so incredibly, Spanish Fork Hospital has been open for 3.5 years now, and it has been a crazy journey. Even just getting our doors open, we opened in the middle of COVID, which was very hard. I have been with Intermountain for 22 years. I am a nurse by trade in the emergency department and had the unique opportunity to open Spanish Fork Hospital. And I say unique in that it was a once in a lifetime opportunity that I would probably never do again, especially in COVID. But it has been an amazing ride. My predecessor in my role, I think many of you know, Francis Gibson, is an amazing man and is now the CEO for the Utah Hospital Association and is traveling the entire state of Utah, supporting and visiting and getting to know all 64 hospitals. But so really, when we look at our journey with Spanish Fork Hospital, it's been a wild ride, and we have done a lot of things in the 3.5 years. So as we look forward and to the future and what we've been able to accomplish, I really just want to show you what we've done and where we are going moving forward. So we did get our second grade A leapfrog safety grade. We just became available and ready for this. It takes 3 years of data to get there. We did get an A, you get an A, B, C, D, and F. So our 2 that we have been eligible for, we've gotten an A. And that really just means that when you look at the safety and the quality measures and everything that we do to keep our patients in the community safe, we are top notch. And so there are 13 hospitals in the Intermountain system that have gotten them, and we were one of them right out of the gate, which is an amazing and very difficult feat to have. Just recently in February of this year, we did open our ICU, which means that we are keeping our patients closer to home. So instead of having to send them to another facility for a higher level of care, we're able to keep more of those patients here in the community and closer to home. We also brought in for our system the very first Mako robot for orthopedic surgeons. So this is instrumental into the technology and where healthcare is going. I joke that if you don't like change, you don't go into healthcare, because what I talk to you about today will change in a week, and it will change in 3 months, it will change in a year. And so us being able to bring in this Mako robot, the precision that it brings and the quality of life that it offers for our patients, when it comes to knees and hips being replaced, this is top notch. And so very excited about that. This is Dr. Gillette, one of our orthopedic surgeons, and really the prime motivator behind us being able to bring in the Mako robot. In and of all of that we do, really first and foremost, it's the community. It is the opportunity to give back and to serve the community. So we do a lot of community involvement. We do a lot of parades and fairs and the events really kicking off in April and going through about September and October. It's exhausting, but it fills our bucket and really keeps us coming back every day. So we have a lot of memberships into the communities of those that we serve, supporting those local events. Work very closely with the Nebo School District. That is actually what fills my bucket every day, is being able to work with the Nebo School District and the kids and serving those and getting them excited about healthcare. Because if you just going into healthcare, if you don't like what you're kind of where you're at and where you focus, you can change it because there's so many opportunities. But let's see. A lot of what we do is around health and safety, prevention into the community, giving back with Sub-Presana United Way Day of Caring. Every September for the United Way Day of Caring, we pick a school within the Nebo School District. We go out, we repaints the pavement, the activities, the fun that they do during their recess, get to interact with the kids. It really is a lot of fun. And then just looking into the future and what we have to offer. I'm very excited to have brought in an affiliated clinic right on our campus. So this is right across the street from us. Affiliated is that they have separate clinics outside of Intermountain, but Utah Surgical Associates, XL Eye Center, Valley OB, and then this will also be bringing in a Teleca, which is a more of an outpatient X-ray imaging area and option for the community at a lower cost than actually getting exams in the hospital. Excitingly and uniquely, only being 3.5 years old, we are already looking at an expansion project of our emergency department. So when Spanish Fork was built, the planning phases came in really about 5 to 10 years before we actually started construction and opened our doors. You all know that South County is booming. And when we opened our doors on April 5th, we were already significantly underbuilt. And so what our ER was a 12-bed ER with 1 trauma room, estimated to see about 14,000 patients a year. We will hit over 20,000 patients this year. And so we are already undergoing planning to expand that and then add in another CT scanner. Our CT scanner in Spanish Fork Hospital is the busiest in the entire Intermountain system, which is crazy. So we operate at about 140% capacity every single day, which means it's constantly going, which means it is why we're here. You know, we Intermountain looked at the growth and the opportunities in South County, and this growth and the opportunity to serve the community is really why we're here. So we look at, the concerns. We're constantly looking at the needs of the community, constantly looking at how we can continue to improve and grow. What we bring, what services we bring into the hospital, and what the community wants. So some of the things that we're really looking at from our standpoint is preventative care, annual screenings, making sure that you have access, the community has access to the care, to the prevention that they need. Falls is a huge one in our entire community. So falls, we look at ground level falls, even more specifically into our population over the age of 65. It is the #1 trauma activation that we see at our hospital, and almost double than that we see of any of our other trauma activations. And so falls prevention is something that we're constantly working on in the community. And then we're looking at cancer rates, specifically breast cancer and prostate cancer. We have some of the highest rates in the entire state of Utah in South County. And so we're trying to work with our community partners to understand why, where we have the access to care now, is it just that they're not seeking the care? Are they seeking the care and it's too late? How do we get that information out to the community for that prevention, to get the care, to get your annual exams, and to really start looking at our risk factors. So a couple of, we talked about the leapfrog, a couple of awards that we've been looking at. So we are with this, the pink, we don't really apply for this award. Instead, researchers use publicly available Medicare information and they grant you this. So we were excited to get this. They look at 355 healthcare systems across the US, and the rankings are based on performance and factors. When we look at our patient outcomes, we look at extended outcomes, operational efficiency, the finances of the hospital and the system, and then really the patient experience and what the patients are saying about us. So I would love to just kind of open it up really quickly to any questions, any concerns, ideas for Spanish Fork Hospital or healthcare in general in South County. And really just want to thank you guys for your support. Healthcare is hard. Healthcare is very hard. We're constantly working to try and find our whys. It takes one great experience to really fill our bucket and to keep us showing up every day. but really why we show up every day is for you. And have appreciated the community's support from day one. We don't get it right every single time, but it's not from a lack of trying. We have great people, great community. 80% of our caregivers, what we call them caregivers, employees, come from South County. This is their town, these are their communities. They're passionate about what they do. The people that walk through their doors are their neighbors, they're their families. And that's really why we do what we do, and always opportunities to improve and to be better.
Okay, any questions I'd like to ask Megan? Council, any questions?
I have a question. When you talk about cancer, who do you reach out to talk to?
So we work with community partners. We also work with the Utah County Health Department and the state of the University of Utah. They're constantly pulling data, and so we partner with them to be able to look at that data and collaborate, and then we reimburse that information out to our providers, to the community, to look at, you know, is it screenings? Do we shift our focus in the community events that we do to look at that, and what we need to be doing and focusing on to get that information out to the community?
So do we ever like reach out, well, you, not me,
Yeah.
to like other states who have like hospitals that are, like their cancer is so, I mean, I know of 3 right now in the United States that are the top. And I just wondered if we ever reach out to them to see if they would have any, you know, comments about what they feel it could be. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm wondering is, do we go outside of Utah? Because
Yeah.
I feel that we should.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah, and we have a lot of close contacts with a system in New York, Northwell, that we're constantly working with, bouncing ideas off of, with the Mayo Clinic, with some facilities in Florida that we're constantly working with, and then just Intermountain Partnership. We're looking at Nevada, we're looking in Montana, we're looking in Wyoming, with Colorado and Idaho to look at what they're doing well. What are best practices? Are there things that we may be missing that we're overlooking? And always looking at not having to reinvent the wheel, but how do you plagiarize? Because if there is a system that's doing it well, then that's what we want to do. And it even stems into a partnership within our own communities and knowing that we are better together. And so when we look at Mountain View, you know, knowing that, seeing past being a competitor, but that we are collaborators because we're serving the same community. And that is what we want, is we want to be identifying how we work together to serve that for the best interest of the community and for the state. And so, you know, a lot of some of the work that we do is working and partnering even within our own communities so that we're best serving you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Megan, for being here. As you mentioned, Mountain View Hospital and your hospital do collaborate. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful for our citizens to be able to have the choice and enhance their health. And I do know that the Huntsman Cancer Center is building in Vineyard.
Yeah.
And so it's very exciting for the citizens in Utah County.
And everything you do with healthcare has to be providing that service closer to home, and that really is the focus.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 3, a public forum. Anyone can speak. Please be cognizant of your time if you would, and identify yourself. We'll be glad to listen to you. So if anyone would like to come up, we'd certainly entertain that.
Good evening and hello again. We're back. Before I go into my statement that I want to share, oh, I'm sorry, I'm Erica Ashby. And I did want to ask, we attended the library board meeting last week. And the consensus we got was that there was a QR label that was going to be added to this kit. but there was still, I mean, they were gonna look into it, and so I'm wondering if there's a final decision on that and what that is, if the QR code is the final
Not that
decision.
I'm aware, in fact, Councilor Monroe asked me that, and it's something that we'll follow.
Okay, well then, I would like to just clarify a couple of things that I feel like I didn't get a chance to, last meeting. So, like I said, I attended the library board meeting last week. And the main point being argued for the inclusion of this book into this kit, and the justification for this new QR system being an adequate solution, was that the book was not really about transgenderism or gender identity. That the author's note has no weight on determining what the book is about and its purpose, and that it's just about a tomboy breaking the glass ceiling. I'd like to share with you some of my own research into this. Number one, Tundra Books, the book's own publisher, provides an educator's guide with questions for children to, quote, help them explore the story's illustrative layers and with and without the words, end quote. In this guide, they include a question from the author. This is from the author. Kumukina, which is the teacher in the story, felt compelled to change gender for acceptance, while today, I can't pronounce the main character's name, is a non-binary person who likes who she is. What are your thoughts on being non-binary? Do you think this term is helpful, or does it create more division? They also include suggestions for follow-up activities. And number two says, as explained in the author's note, Kumukina, the teacher, is a transgender woman. Talk with students about the meaning of transgender and what they know about it. The author emphasizes the importance of unconditional acceptance and respect. Have students discuss how this might be especially important in the life of a transgender person. Number two, the review on this book from the school library journal reads, quote, an affirming story of a gender identity little represented in children's literature. This book is an excellent purchase for libraries looking to expand their LGBTQ+ offerings. Why does this review matter? The School Library Journal is the premier publication for librarians and information specialists who work with children and teens, a source of quality journalism and reviews for 70 years. Number three, in 2020, the American Library Association recognized this book in their Rainbow Book List. This is an annual list put out by the ALA that, quote, presents current, well-written, and or well-illustrated books with significant and authentic LGBTQ content, which are recommended for people from birth through 18, end quote. This is from their website. Why does this award and recognition matter? Though many of us would like it to be otherwise, the American Library Association is the world's largest, oldest, and most influential library association. And even though it's not a government body, and their Library Bill of Rights is not a legal document, it influences the policies of libraries across the nation. The Payson Library, who doesn't receive any funding from them, adopts these policies into their own policy guide. Even this organization recognizes this book as LGBT literature. The National Association of Education also labels the themes of this book as LGBTQ and gender identity. These are facts. This is full disclosure. I could keep going on with other reviews and interviews with the author that further cement that though this book is based off of a true story, its message clearly deals with gender identity and touches on transgenderism. Choosing to ignore this or continuing to claim that it's only about a tomboy is wrong and frankly insulting. We need to take the book, these reputable sources, and the author's own words at face value. These aren't up for interpretation. I would like to end by inviting anyone on this council, any member of the library board, or any librarian at the Payson Library to read this book at the next reading time for children and their parents. These are the people checking out the kits. If there is any hesitation or if it isn't a resounding yes, then this book should not be in a sealed kit. These kits are neutral in nature unless otherwise labeled, like the Christmas ones that have now been changed to Nativity and Santa, a loophole that still separates the religious ones without labeling it as religious. If this book stays in the kit, it should be labeled appropriately. If it can't be, like we've been told, then it should be taken out of the kit and put with all the other books where parents can easily preview it before checking it out. There are plenty of other books about Hawaii that are purely educational that could be added. This is what we want, not QR codes that add more hoops in the name of transparency and that don't provide these reviews or information that I have just shared with you. We're not coming to you because our feelings have been hurt over this issue. We're presenting you with the facts, and it will truly be a sad day, the day we let our feelings or the feelings of others supersede truth and ignore facts. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate your comments.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
I'm also back. I was here a couple weeks ago. My name is Jace Nelson. For the record, address of 389 North 200 East here in Payson. Going off of Erica's comments, the librarians have labeled the kit with the QR code. The library board has claimed that this is a beautiful compromise. However, this is not a compromise because it is not helpful to the parents in the community. And here are some reasons why. This does not make the kit more transparent. Number one, parents and kids alike are required to now have a smartphone in hand in order for the kit to be transparent to them. Number two, there are only 4 parents in the city of Payson, or maybe half a dozen to a dozen, that have been informed that the QR code exists because the kit contains controversial content. For the kit to be truly transparent now, the library needs to inform the remaining 24,000 citizens on the purpose of the new QR code. Busy parents are not mind readers and will not have the time to look up the QR code unless they are informed of its purpose. Number 3, the library has a very poor cell phone connection. This is just a fact. The website will take longer to load, or in my case, and the case of many other parents I've talked to, will not even load until after the parents have left the library. We have tested this. The QR code links parents to Amazon, number 4. The QR code links parents to Amazon reviews of every item in the kit. Parents will not have the time to take, parents will not be able to take the time to read through all the reviews of every item before taking the kit home, especially if they have multiple children. Number 5, the Amazon reviews that the library links patrons to are skewed towards positive and vague reviews of Hanani Hula Warrior, the book in question. Critical reviews are hidden and take some time and digging to find on Amazon. Number 6, let's imagine that the internet worked well in the library and that every parent thought to go look at the QR code before bringing the kit home. Look, the librarians have said that reading the online reviews takes less time than looking through a book on the shelf. This is not true. Additionally, reading favorably skewed reviews from strangers on the internet is obviously not as informative as looking at the book right in front of your eyes. Our request is the request of dozens of parents who signed a petition was to either label the click clearly, not add hoops, or take the book out of the kit and display it to the public. There are both easy fixes that would take them less than 60 seconds. Either solution would have solved this issue once and for all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Ma'am?
My name is Rebecca Nelson, and thank you so much for listening to us again. We truly appreciate you all and all of your work. City Attorney, Mr. Sant, told us that it would be illegal to label children's books as books containing LGBTQ content. When we were asked for a citation for the statute or the case law that he was referring to for that conclusion, we were told that the statute was the First Amendment. While it's true that many people, including the ALA, fervently believe the First Amendment is the obvious answer here, it's insufficient. An actual search of the actual case law relevant to this topic did not support Mr. Sant's opinion. Yes, it's illegal to remove books simply because we disagree with their ideas, but that's not what we're asking. And yes, it's illegal to restrict access to books by requiring parental permission to check them out, but that's not what we're asking. The question of a simple, non-judgmental, non-restrictive, non-discriminatory label has not been litigated, and therefore it's inaccurate to say it's illegal. It's also inaccurate to say, as the library board and city attorney told us that this book, Honai, Who a Warrior, is not clearly LGBTQ. There is an obvious difference between a character who says, I'm a girl who bravely takes on traditionally masculine roles and activities on one hand, and I'm neither a boy or a girl on the other hand. There is a clear difference between a tomboy and non-binary. Non-binary is a powerful, volatile idea that if placed into a child's mind could lead to immense harm from medical treatments whose effectiveness is so questionable that some European countries have completely stopped it. This kind of attention drawn to this issue of children is not based on discrimination or hate. It's brought to light by parents who love them so much that they can't fathom them being sucked into these sorts of life-altering and sometimes life-ending treatments. We need to ensure our focus is in the right place. It is to your credit that you want to befriend and support the town's employees, like the librarians. We love the librarians too, and many of the excellent programs and services that they provide. But they are adults. They're professionals who need to be able to receive professional feedback without insisting that their feelings be protected over more important matters. Our children's well-being is the most important matter. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. It is a very emotional issue, and I understand that.
Thank you, and I know you guys know, and I have the source to the information about this topic and the laws, so I can deliver if you'd like to.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Good evening, my name is Carrie Bartholomew. I am the State Director of Moms for America Youth.
One thing,
Go
because
ahead.
you've had three, and that's the third one, at least try not to repeat some of the same things that
Sure.
has already been
That's fine.
stated. Not that I want to restrict what you're saying.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine. I'm just gonna skip a little bit to get down to that point.
Appreciate
So, yes, came to the same meeting a couple of weeks ago. I feel the one thing that I really want to stress on is that we know that we made a reasonable request when we asked that books be labeled. And the reason that we know that that was reasonable is because the librarians actually took the stickers off. I had one parent who reached out to me and said, oh, look, they're actually starting to do it. And when they turned it into the librarian said, oh, we missed one. So they're being removed. The stickers are being removed that would catalog the books. And as I said before, that's called clearing the catalog. So our libraries have claimed that they are following the guidance of the Library Association, but I think it's important to understand that guidance is not law. This last weekend, I was in Washington, D.C. I was speaking with lawyers about what's going on in schools and in libraries regarding books. And there is, when we center around one group of people at the exclusion of others, you're opening up yourself to lawsuits as well. So I think that's really important to understand. Emily Drabinski is a self-proclaimed queer Marxist. In her own words, she is intent on clearing the catalog. The library has decided to follow that guidance. And again, guidance is not law. Secondly, I want to explain, as she did, how activism works. I agree with what she said.
Sir, don't close that door.
Okay,
Sir, we gotta keep them open.
I agree with what Rebecca said about the fact that we've got to do what's right by our children. That has to be a priority over the adults who are trained to be activists. I actually spent several hours today watching library trainings and watching what they're saying and how they're doing it and how activists oftentimes lean into emotion. I feel bad. You can't make me feel bad. This is unkind. This isn't welcoming. But a true library, a true welcoming situation is welcome to all people. And so asking for labels to be on these things, it is not saying, you know, there are people who are going to seek out those books. There are people who are like, those are the only book I'm looking for in the library. And there are families who are going to say, I don't want my family to read those books. Neither one is necessarily right or wrong, but they have to be transparent. And the thing that makes them not transparent, this is the last thing, is that they've said only the parents of the children should be able to decide what the children read. Not an unreasonable argument. However, If the book is something like a revised version of Anne of Green Gables, where Anne is now in a relationship with her friend Diana rather than Gilbert, or if Joe is now non-binary, no parent is going to see that. They're gonna go, oh, I read that book when I was a kid, that's an excellent book. So I think it's really important that we remember that this has always worked. We're changing things for a Marxist agenda, and I can't help but see in God we trust. God and Marxism cannot be linked together. So I hope that you will consider those things in the future. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you. Sandy.
Jesus, my voice is so bad. That we have. And I'm just here to represent Tabitha's Way. For you, those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure you mostly know Tabitha's Way is an organization that was established in 2010 by Wendy Osborne, who was inspired to start Tabitha's Way after she read in Acts chapter 9, verses 36 to 42. And she felt like Tabitha in that scripture, that she and her husband Jody desired to help the food insecure people in their community. Now they live in Spanish Fork. And I know a lot of us think there's no food insecurity around here, but truly there is. They opened the first small pantry in Spanish Fork. It was just in a little teeny spot, and it was behind a store on Main Street. And then through community effort, they were eventually able to move into a larger space on Main Street. And they're supported through volunteers and donations. And at this point, they're getting some grants. But from there, through community support, they were able to move into the building that they're currently in right now. And from this humble beginning, they now have a food pantry in Pleasant Grove and also one in Saratoga Springs. The Spanish Fork Pantry serves people that go as far as Nephi, and they're beginning to see a need that they're going to need a pantry, maybe in Jewett or a little further south. But they're in, I'll just give you a few boring statistics, but for 2024, the total individuals helped per month is 5,726. That's just out of the Spanish Fork Pantry. That's up 24% from 2023. The average total of seniors they help per month in 2024 is 270, and that's up 33% from 2023. So they just wanted to make you aware of the mission for Tabitha's, and that is to provide temporary food assistance, number one. Number two is recommending sources that help lead to self-reliance. And number three is helping neighbors help neighbors. And with that in mind, Tabitha's does a few special events each year. And one of them is that they do a backpack giveaway where they collect backpacks and fill them with school supplies and distribute them to kids. And at that event, they also have other services that are available, like help with eyeglasses or chips or other services that might be available to help these people. And so a couple of the other events that they do is at Thanksgiving and Christmas time, they have food kits that that volunteers assemble, and then they distribute these kits to families so that they can have Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners. And of course, that requires a lot of help. And so with that in mind, I've given each of you an invitation. If you're interested in helping to distribute the Christmas food packages, then Tabitha's would love to have you help do that. And you will need to respond fairly quickly because they are wanting to get the lineup of people that will help do that. But it's a really fun opportunity and it gives you a chance to meet people from your community. And so we just thought you might be interested in doing that. Do any of you have any questions about Tabitha's or the way this distribution will take effect is they have, or the way people will know about this is they give vouchers to the schools and they give vouchers to some of the churches so that they are able to recognize people that might be wanting those services or needing those services, or people can actually ask at the school if they have any vouchers available. So that's basically how the right people will know what to get.
I participated in this last year. It's very, very satisfying to be able to be part of it.
It's kind of a fun event and gives you a chance to meet people. And so does anybody, I know everybody sees the Tabitha's Way bins all around town, and the collection of the clothing is sold, and that helps to support the base that they need for Tabitha's. And it's really good if you want to donate clothes. It's really bad if you want to go dump your old furniture up there because
It costs Tabitha's Way money to get rid of it.
it really does. They have to pay somebody to haul it off, then they have to pay to dump it. So
I have a couple questions for you. One is if we volunteer, can we just distribute in the Payson area? Do they have it divided up that way?
no, you will actually just go over to the food pantry. And I think I think it tells you on your invitation, but there will be a variety of people who are coming in there.
So, you know,
They have two lines that the Spanish Fort Police Department helps to organize a bit. And then they come through and you're in two different lines, giving out the same thing to two different things.
And if you speak Spanish, that's really good.
So grateful for Tabitha's Way. They do excellent work for so many of our residents. They're a great asset, good organization. So thank you so much. They have our support.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate what you do too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ma'am?
Hello, Amy Pitcher. I am co-chair of the library board here in Payson. And just wanted to share a few things so that you know what the library is currently doing. So the petition that was brought to us regarding the Hawaii kit requested that the kit be labeled of the contents inside or that the book be removed and placed on the shelf. So Molly and Donna and myself worked last week to create a system for labels to be placed on all kits listing exactly what items are in the kit, a QR code that will take parents to links on the internet, most specifically Amazon if they're on there, so parents can read reviews, what the toy is about, if the toy has small parts that are dangerous for children. We did realize that it would be a problem if parents did not have a cell phone or if the Wi-Fi was spotty, because the Wi-Fi is pretty terrible in the library, I'm not gonna lie, which is one of the reasons we need a new library. Seeing that as a problem, we did go into the catalog for the library and create a link in the catalog where you can access all of that information. So they can go to one of the many computers in the library, go to the catalog, search up the kit. It will take them directly to all of those links as well. We felt that this satisfied the request to either have full transparency of what's in the kit or to remove the kit or remove the book and put it on the shelf. A few other things as far as labeling, I'm assuming that they are requesting to label LGBTQ books with some sort of sticker or warning that that's what's inside. Donna has shared with us previously that they have had parents request, please do not do that because my child who is LGBTQ wants to read that book, takes it to school, they get bullied, they get beat up, they get teased because of what they're reading. So there are issues with labeling items externally, and we are just requesting that parents do their due diligence and research and monitor what their children check out, which is what we've all had to do in regards to all sorts of media, friends, groups, organizations, school material, everything like that. That's all I have unless you have any questions.
Thank you very much.
Just one quick one.
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
Sorry.
Is it possible to create a section dedicated specifically to that and then categorize those individually within that to match the other categories? Or would that be a violation
That's a question that we would have to bring up with Donna, but
of?
personally, I don't want to have to go to the special section to check out a special book because I'm special. It's a random situation, a random parallel, I guess. If I go to the Payson pool and I take my little boys, there's people there that are dressed inappropriate. I don't want them to see that. But we don't have a special section of the pool where you can wear your stinky bathing suit so that my kid doesn't see it. So I think that it's parenting. We try to be as transparent, which is what they've requested. We try to fulfill their needs. And also there is a form that is supposed to be filled out if you have an issue with an item in the library. Donna has presented that to them and they still have not filled out the forms. So according to our policy, that's how you file a complaint with the library. It goes through librarians, it would go through me as a board president and my co-chair, but that has not been done yet.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Terry. I actually live in Provo, but my grandkids are growing up in Payson. I just wanted to do a quick, kind of a bigger picture thing.
We're getting a lot, so please try
Yeah, I'll
not
be
to
quick.
repeat same information.
Sure, absolutely. About those forms, I did fill out one of those forms 6 weeks ago and haven't heard back, but,
She's not a Payson resident. We don't respond. She has to be a Payson resident to fill out the form. She's not a Payson resident. She isn't even a card holder at the library.
Donna, please let her say what she's saying.
thank you. I think the last 10 years have been uniquely hard on children, mostly because childhood has become extremely politicized. And I think part of the problem here is that adults have not been willing to stand up for children. You know, childhood is a very special time, and yet it seems like a lot of people have wanted to co-opt it. And so while I understand the need to talk about some of these details, what it sounds to me like is that there are a lot of excuses for not protecting children. You know, a lot of excuses for, I don't know. I mean, having to go through when I had little kids and would go to the library, I didn't have time to look through lists of things. I was trying to, you know, prevent the kids from pushing the books into the bookshelves and things like that. So I just really hope that we have more of an ethos of protecting children instead of trying to figure out exactly how far we can push things politically. I teach freshman English at BYU, and those kids are sick to death of politics because their entire childhoods, you know, ever since they were in elementary school, they have been forced all of these political issues on them when they could have just been children. So thank you. I hope we can all as a
It's a
community work
complicated
hard.
issue, it really is, so
It is.
appreciate your comments.
Thanks.
Sir,
I'll be brief.
please.
Colton Ashby, and I guess in regards to the form, that's specifically for removing a book from the library. That's not what we're asking. And then as far as like sections of the library, that's something that's done already with religious books, and with Spanish or bilingual books, which is great. Personally, for me, when our kids are bilingual, and when we go to that section, it's not othering, it's not making us go to a special section or anything like that. It's actually very helpful. You know, we can easily find what we're looking for, and something that we really appreciate.
Okay.
So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ma'am, you've already been, okay. That's fine. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Okay. If there's someone out there that needs to talk about something else, I'm more than happy to give you some time, but I think we've given the library issue enough time. Anybody else? Another subject. Okay. We'll go ahead and close the public forum at this time, and we'll move on to staff reports. Okay, Janine.
I'll make this quick. So, I'm excited to end the year. We're to November, almost the end of the year, but we still have 2 more events to go. So I hope the city council will come out and support. We have our Santa Dash, which is November 30th. We meet at the Patini at 4:45 and we dash at 5 o'clock. We go on the west side of the Patini, Utah Avenue, head down to Main Street, head over to Memorial Park. And as we go through there, then they turn on the lights, head back up to the pickleball courts, and then back up to the Patini Museum, where we have donuts and hot chocolate. And then Miss Payson guides us through a countdown and we turn on the lights at the Patini. So it's really fun. It's a great way to kick off Christmas. And then the next weekend, we have the Patini Christmas Boutique, December 6th and 7th. Lots of entertainment will come through into the auditorium, which is fun. And a lot of great vendors. We're fortunate to have a lot of those who make a lot of handcrafted things, and this is an opportunity to buy those for the ones you love for Christmas. So, any questions?
Hey, we're gonna have the youth council helping with the Santa Dash,
Yeah,
so we look
that's
forward to it.
Yep, that
Yeah.
sounds great.
So Janine, on that Santa Dash, aren't they
Uh-huh.
also doing the lighting of the Christmas tree
Yes, the
downtown
little-
and then it says, small business
Yeah,
Saturday?
so I was hoping that she would stay and talk about that, but so small business is on same Saturday, noon to 6. So they have different activities going on Main Street. They'll also have boutiques. I think she has Santa Claus coming too. I know they've invited some elementary school kids to sing when they turn on the lights for the big Christmas tree. So we'll encourage those, the mayor will, he starts the race. So once we get them all going, he'll encourage them all then after the race to, after we turn on the lights, he needs to go down to Main Street. It's just a few blocks down. And that way we can all be there when they light the big tree.
So if the mayor starts the race, does he finish the race?
No, he does.
I wasn't gonna answer it, but any other questions?
Thanks, Janine.
That was super quick. This is just a calendaring item. We are in the process of preparing for further construction on Main Street in the spring and the library parking lot. So we're going to hold an open house about that, just to kind of inform the community of what's going on, what the plans are. That's going to be December 3rd from 5:30 to 7 here in the council chambers. Driver, thanks.
What time you give us, Robert? 5:30 to 7?
5:30 to 7.
Thanks, Robert.
More construction.
Progress.
Progress. It will be done.
Carl, I wonder if you wanted to say something about the, like,
Hey, Mayor and Council and public, a couple of things. Just so you know, we were awarded a Grand Fondo Series race coming next summer. This is a national series bike race, and we'll be be a host community. That'll be June 7th in conjunction with our Adventure Day celebration. So we're excited to have that series coming. We're beginning preparations for that, meeting with them. We met just this last Monday going over, a grand view, and we'll start getting into detail. They're going to come into town in December and we'll start touring around and see how those routes will go. So that's fantastic news. We're happy to have that.
This is a road bike race.
Yeah, road bike race. Now, this is not like we hosted for the past, for those that know, we've hosted Utah's toughest stage race with the Tour of Utah. That has gone away. That is professional riders. This is not professional. It's amateurs and pre-amateur riders as well. So locals can ride as well as amateur or wannabe pros can ride in this race as well. So we are the 7th in this series. There's 6 others. There's also some partner races, but we're the 7th in their expansion, and they plan to expand to 8 total locations throughout the nation. So we're excited to have that. Also, we did meet with the Forebay Committee last night and continue talking about the conservation easement. Didn't get too far along in that, but we did have good discussion, and so wanted to report that as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Any other staff? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to.
Sorry,
council.
Mayor, I'd like to say something about the library.
Please do, Don.
I just wanted to clarify a couple of things because I felt like the board meeting went very, very well. I can tell you that we have bent over backwards to try to accommodate the requests of these patrons. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to clarify that the paperwork is only for Payson Public Library people to fill out. If we open that up to everybody, I mean, I think we could have people filling that out from all over if they wanted to, but it really just is applicable to our residents to fill out that paperwork. But at the patron's request, we have put a copy of that book in the children's. We only had it in the Hawaii kit before, but now at their request, we have a copy of it in with the children's books. And I guess I'm confused that them coming back tonight and saying that it's a dangerous book, but at their request, we have now put it in where children can access it. So I feel like there's a little, I'm not completely sure what their agenda is, but I do want you to know that we do take the safety of children very, very carefully. This book doesn't discuss transgender. It doesn't suggest that anybody should change their sex. I'm the other thing that they didn't want is they don't have time to look up specifics when they come with their children to the library, and we try to respect that. We try to make things very easy for people to get to. We have check-in available. I think we're the only library that has people can check in their own books now, and that we started that in April. So that if there's a long line and they don't have time for their books to get checked in by a librarian, they can check in their book and check out a book and be in and out in two minutes if they want to be. But labeling the books, the comparison between Spanish and gender is not even. Spanish isn't subjective, but there are a lot of books that as a sub-character will have somebody who may be gay or may not be gay, but do we put a sticker on it if it has a sub-character that is only mentioned once? Or there's a whole scale that who decides that? And we are very careful about being inclusive to people. And I want you to know that we take this job very, very seriously, and we deeply care about the patrons and about Payson. And we have really tried hard to accommodate. And there've been a series of emails. Jace Nelson, for example, did initially not want that book in the library, Hoanani. And I can show you emails, but I feel like it keeps shifting. And I want you to know that we are addressing it as much as we can, but we have a lot of other things we'd like to tend to instead of having this keep coming up. So I just want to reassure the council that we don't have any hidden agendas. The goal when I was children's librarian, before I was the director, my goal was that I wanted children to cry when they had to leave the library because they were sad to leave it. And that sounds sadistic. I didn't mean it in a mean way. I love children. I want them to come to the library and stay there. And Molly has taken that job and she's done twice as well as I ever did as a children's librarian, and her heart and soul is in it. And I just want you all to know how much we love the library and how much we respect this process. And I hope the patrons will understand that we've tried as hard as we can to accommodate them. That's all.
Thank you, Don.
Donna, Council Rowley here. I just want to ask one question, if that's okay. I just want to clarify, I don't think that the patrons wanted us to purchase another book to put in the children's section necessarily, but remove that book from the packet. And none of us are questioning your love for the children. I think that's genuine and real, and I don't have any questions or concerns over that. But I just, while some of the patrons have attracted attention of people that do have agendas, the patrons do not have agendas. They're here literally just concerned about a book that was in a packet that the librarians control. And I wouldn't want my daughter to read that book. You read the author's note, the author is pushing for transgender everything. She's an activist in that realm. And I guess my loving suggestion is, I just don't know if this is the hill worth dying on. why can't we just pull the book from the packet and put a different book in about Hawaii? And you don't have to answer that tonight, but that's just a statement.
It's just a
Yeah,
question.
yeah. So just something to think about, and I appreciate the work of the library board and the librarians. But I just don't think this needs to be blown up into something it's not. I think this is a simple solution. That's all I have there.
Good,
Okay, thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you, Councilor. Okay, we'll go to council reports, starting with, Council Christensen.
I'm good today, thanks.
Okay, Council Hewlett.
Just a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Robert on his new assignment in the city, so congratulations, you'll do a great job. We had Walmart come into our Economic Development Committee this couple of weeks ago, and they say they each year they just keep getting more and more business, which is great. And even as you know, Spanish Forks expanded and everything else, so that was good. And they said they're the second most pickups of, you know, where you go in and pick up your food, they bring it out to you and everything. And all the Walmarts in Utah, they're the second most, so that really surprised me. Then just the last thing is Explore Utah Valley's going, they're the ones that do tourism for Utah County. They're gonna highlight Payson in December.
Thank you, Councilor Rowley.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few items. First off, I'm really excited with the Health of Shelby Bowling. We've got the Youth City Council up and started again. We had our first meeting last night. This gives youth from 9th to 12th grade the opportunity to come. We sat here in the chamber, signed them up here in your seat even, Mayor, and gave them a polo shirt and talked about what we're going to be doing. And just to warn the department heads, we're going to be reaching out to you guys to take us on tours and teach them about how government works. We want to demystify government a little bit and the people that both work in it and serve in it as public servants. And I'm really excited about this group, and we're going to be helping out with Santa Dash and other events. And we still need more members. It was a small group, but this is a great way to engage the youth. And so any 9th to 12th grader that's interested in Youth City Council, great for scholarships and it looks good on resumes, college applications, everything. So I want to put a plug in for that. And I just want to say how excited I am that they're starting to play Christmas music on the radio now. And that's all I have there.
Thanksgiving over, but anyway. Okay, Council Moss.
I just want to make my comments about the library situation. I was at the library board meeting. And I know what the agenda is on both sides. Not the library side, but the parents, their agenda is to protect their children. And the transgender, the LGBTQ agenda for targeting children's books is to indoctrinate this into children, leave the children alone. But I also know that we can only win this fight one step at a time. I liken it to slavery in the 1800s. We couldn't abolish it all at once. We had to go one step at a time. And that's why I agree with the compromise that the library did all that they could. To label, they listed, if I'm not mistaken, Donna, the lists on the kits list everything. There is a QR code. There is still the stuff on the catalog. So the parents do have to do their due diligence. It's so hard to be a parent, and we have to be on top of everything, and we can't possibly be that because we are human beings and we only have 24 hours in the day. So if you have to take the kit home, take the book out. I also know that there are different levels of these books. This book is in no way pornographic. There are books geared towards children that are pornographic. And so we'll get this fought one step at a time. I feel that really the only problem with this book was some of the wording. If they hadn't have said she didn't feel like a boy or a girl, she is simply a tomboy and that she wanted to do the warrior dance with the boys. But there was an agenda that hijacked the goodness of that story and the power of that story. And that's what we have to be aware of. And if anything, you guys are bringing this out to the forefront in our community because it's here now. We're a small community and it's come here. And I don't advocate for any violence towards anyone. I know that everyone's battling something. I think we can have compassion for anyone. And so I commend the library, Donna and Molly, for going above and beyond and taking so much time to, not just for the Hawaii kit, for all the kits, to list all the books and all the toys and connect all the links, and it looked frankly better than some other libraries that I know of on their catalog. It looked amazing. And I did mention at the library board, Amazon might not be your go-to website to look at reviews for books. Goodreads might be. That's my website of choice for books, but there are countless websites for reviews of books. And if there's any type of question, this is my advice, if there's any type of question that there might be some questionable content in a book, then the answer is automatically no until the parent can get to it. But I'm also, I also agree with Donna, there are countless books in the adult section especially that mention or highlight questionable content, and we can't, it's not humanly possible to label every single book about every single issue, about every single character that's mentioned in a book. And so that's why, just as a person who loves to read, you have to take the time to go look at the reviews. And for example, Goodreads will label all the topics, all the genres in any given book, and then you can decide. And I think this is a good compromise for now. And I know you disagree, but I also see your point as well. We have to go one step at a time. And I trust that our librarians will not bring in pornographic material for children like the book Gender Queer. That one is disgusting. And it's hard. I know the agenda. I know what they're doing. Not you guys, but I know that ideology. I don't even like to use the word gender because that's what they like to use. It's sexuality ideology. Thousands and thousands of kids have experienced awful mutilation because of this ideology. And they will suffer the effects of all of this. And this is just one of those steps that side tries to take to desensitize a lot of us. And it's not a hatred, it's a protection against children. I'm not for censorship, but I am for absolute protection of children. But we have to do it one at a time. If we wanted to go get rid of slavery at the very beginning of America, we wouldn't have established America. So it has to be one step at a time and keep going. But our librarians are doing a great job. Thank you.
Council Moss, Council. All right. Okay. Okay. Moving on to action items. The E, resolution authorize and approve the County Power Project Power Sales contract with Utah Associated Municipal Power System, UAMPS, and related matters. John?
Sorry.
I saw you had on there 10 minutes for your presentation, so.
Fine.
I can do it. Two. I can do it.
Jonathan, you want the other three?
That's what's giving me all this pressure. I don't know. All right. So I'm just asking you for another power plant. So we just got started on them. That's just to pique your interest. So what's going on here is we're about 700, 800 megawatts short. UAMPS is from our peak. We're really, really short. So we were hitting around 1,300 megawatts right now, 1,400.
in the summer. We're not as short as Payson City itself, but there's some bigger cities in Utah County that are very short power resource. And so that's why we had all that market instability and things, and everyone's kind of depending on that coal or nuclear plant, and that went out. So what ended up happening is UAMPS did IRP, integrated resource plan, to figure out, you know, what to do. Paid some consultants. We kind of knew what to do, but they do that to show, yes, this is what we should do. Anyway, one of my big things was when the Nebo power plant was built, some cities bought too much, and they didn't have the load to cover it because of what happened during 2001 when Enron came. Everyone could say, oh, natural gas is $2 a decatherm. We can sell it for 300. We're going to make some money. And so they started building plants. And then as soon as California's governor started capping the energy prices, bankruptcies started. And so the Nebo power plant here in Payson was built during that time. A lot of cities bought too much. So that was my big concern, is there was a lot of lawsuits at that time where some cities like bought 18 megawatts worth of power and their peak loads were 6 megawatts. And so they had that debt and stuff. So that caused a lot of infighting within UAMPS and a lot of problems around 2004. So anyway, I was really pushing that individual analysis would happen on each city, because a lot of cities don't have a resource planner, or they don't have the expertise to do that. What ended up happening is they did Payson's as well as everyone else's. This is the 25-year outlook on what our load growth will be. So that red line, the red solid line, is the actual load. The dotted line is what's called resource adequacy, where it's being about 10% above. And we are probably going to have to go to that. What that means is you have to have 10% more generation assets or contracts that are backed, that you can back up your load. And California is driving a lot of this with CAISO, but Pacific Core is probably joining with them in their regional transmission authority, and it'll bring all those rules to us. And so that's what that dotted line is. I've been more worried about just the solid red line in my world. All those lines under it, that's just different resources coming in and out that we currently have. So here in a little while, there'll be, you know, a shortage from their analysis. I showed you this, you know, last year. I think it was last fall. So about a year ago. And we were hitting about 34 megawatts on our peaking. So you have your peaking, that's what the plant that we're doing right now is for here in town. Intermediate is more like what the Nebo plant is, and base load is like your coal and nuclear. So that's what you want 24/7. So just keep that in mind. But we hit 37, so we've climbed 10% this year on our peak loads. But so we're growing, and I think we're gonna grow a lot more. They came back with the recommendation, the consultants, of doing 7 megawatts on a peaker plant and almost 7 megawatts on a combined cycle plant. Combined cycle plant is where you have a gas turbine in front of a steam turbine. You take the waste heat and turn the steam turbine, so you get really good efficiency. And then the peaker plants are generally like engines or aeroderivative turbines. This kind of shows over the next 20 years in and outs of what we could have with different resources. I didn't really like their analysis all the way, because as you can see right there, we're only at 8 megawatts on our internal generation, and we started building a power plant, we're going to be 19.4 megawatts. So we rejected, I was like, you kind of forgot that part, and here's the engines. Anyway, we rejected the 7 megawatt peaker, but I felt really good about going towards this combined cycle part. This is something we can't do on our own very easily. It's large scale to get that efficiency. So this size is similar to the one in Mona, or the one by Geneva Steel. And their price predictions are in this area right here. It's hard to know exactly, because you get, you know, your gas hedges matter and things like that later. I'm more worried about the the overall idea of it is we're gonna grow and there's not really another technology alternative right now until our government gets behind nuclear. And so,
Why do you think that's gonna happen?
yes, someday,
Do you think they would make it easier?
yeah, I hope.
Because that's what, I mean, they talked about it. And
Yeah, I would think so, because, I mean, we're getting so much more load. Every day I go to Salt Lake, I'm blown away on all the Teslas coming home. I'm just like, wow, how can we energize all these? To let you, the audience kind of, I mean, these engines we're putting in are 2.4 megawatts, are huge. And they'll only, on the fast chargers, that's 7 Teslas. I mean, it's crazy the amount of energy it takes to charge those things. And so as we get more Teslas, as we do more other things, we're just upping our loads, electrical loads. We're very hungry. And this is just a bunch of mumbo jumbo about contract stuff. Anyway, it's gonna be built in American Falls, Idaho. I can't say exactly, because then they're trying to get the land still and get the stuff with the substation, and there's a gas line right there, Northwestern Pipeline, which is a really big gas line. So the gas is cheaper up there. They don't have the emissions problems that we have here, the non-attainment area on NOx, and they don't cheaper land, they have more water. And so there's all these positives to build in Idaho. I'm gonna try and get them to do that for a little while. If you have radiators, it's okay to build in Utah and you stay off the Wasatch Front. But the Wasatch Front, as we get more houses, more cars, we're just making our NOx levels go up. And so it's really constraining that. So really, it's a good place to build it. I think the price is gonna be higher than it used to be a while ago, but it's really not an option. We have to grow, and Umpa is also gonna own part of this plant and a bunch of other cities. We're about 2% owners is all with this proposal, but it'll be about 6 years out too before it's done. I don't know if you're gonna say.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, yeah,
Do we
5
have
to 6 years.
Do we have the capacity between now and 6 years to cover everything that we need?
We'll be close. It depends if some of these developments go in. It could really grow a lot. So, and it's gonna help us a lot getting these engines, and I got a couple other projects too we're thinking about too. But this one's really important to get that base load. We can't do the base load on ourselves, by ourselves very good.
So Sean, you just want to invest in one of those plants?
Yes,
correct?
only the
Idaho,
one in Idaho,
which is
the
the
combined cycle.
6.69 megawatts.
No, 7 megawatts, 7.02, I think I've written.
Okay.
002, yes, it's 70.002.
And if we amend the contract with UAMs, is this plant, is it a done deal or? No, I mean, what if it's not built? Can we get any restitution?
No, not restitution. No, I mean, we'll be paying into the research and the buying the land and all that, with the others. We're all in the same boat with that. No, but it will not for I mean, if it gets to a point where we decide, no, this is a bad deal, then we'll all back out, but we'll lose the money to do the permits and things of that nature.
Do you feel confident with the other cities involved that this could in fact be built and happen?
Yeah, I feel very confident about the combined cycle. I'm not as confident about the peaker, but we are involved in that. And so, and we're doing our own, which we control. So I feel really good about that. There's another kind of wrinkle that's gonna be crazy for all us cities or everyone. It's called EDAM, and that's the day ahead market. And that's kind of controlled, it is controlled by California as well. Once you get in this, you give all your resources to it. It gets really complex, but they tell you when to run and when not to. And it's supposed to drive down the efficiency where the best, lowest price, everyone gets that. I think it's more to benefit those who don't have resource and have made mandates.
Regulate themselves out.
Yes, yes, and so they're trying to get all of us to do it, but all of us want to do it because we can make a bunch of money on them. So I don't know, it's like, but I don't want to do it because I'm working, I'm just more thinking about us, but that's kind of where everything's going. But this is a good idea, and it's something that we can't do on our own, and all the other cities are gonna do it, and Umpa's gonna do it, and I'm pretty sure it'll go. That it was pretty cool here, the farmer that's selling the fields, he just got done at the beet harvest, and he's like, you don't want it there, that's too close to this and this, you wanna move it over here, and I'll sell you this land, this is a little closer to the gas line and stuff. They're really cool dude, and it's so funny, the Utah guy's like, we call him Dutton, he's like trying to get everything out of us, and we're like, I don't know if we're gonna do this, you know, and I think that project's gonna have a hard time because of how he's acting with that land, or we'll just have to move it, you know, but this other one, I think it's a good one, so.
Council, any other questions?
Unfortunately, we charge everything from our toothbrushes to our cars now, and yeah, the demand in Payson is at peak. And it's even exceeding that in many areas. There's some subdivisions that we can't beat. Right?
Yeah.
And so this is a long-term, hopefully solution for the residents.
What is it looking like before we would ever see a return on our investment? How much are we talking?
I mean, when we start using it, it should create.
How much is it gonna cost us to get to that stage?
Well, the plant's gonna be 600 million roughly, and we're gonna have about 2% of that, 2.7%. I think so. I mean, we're in a 90 million-ish. And then we'll have the gas to feed it and the O&M and all that later, just like we have with the Nevo plant.
They will bond for most of this, right? So.
Yeah, you have to.
Right, so it's not up front.
The others,
Yeah.
it's not.
Say that again. Yeah, it's just all bonded. I mean, it's to provide yourself energy where you own it. You aren't dependent upon buying it from someone else at maybe a premium or the market or penalties. If we go into this situation with, we're all in the same RTO, there's gonna be severe penalties on those that don't have the excess amount that's all agreed to try and drive you to buy that excess amount. So the further you are ahead on planning, then hopefully you have it cheaper before there's a race to build. And then like your solar capacity will be rated less, your wind capacity, you know, it won't be nameplate, it'll all be rated down. Actually, the power plant that we're building will probably be one of the highest because it'll be the most adaptable and dispatchable. It's on the value chain. And so all of those things will be looked into. So it gets getting complicated.
So Sean, if the plant's in fact built, which I hope it is, and we're invested, we're one of the owners consuming the power that produces, how long a contract do we have before they can come back and change our rate? Has that been discussed yet? How long? I mean, is this lifetime, is this 10 years?
They haven't, I mean, they can't stick to a price that they're getting. I mean, we're actually building it. We're actually building the equipment, you know, putting it there. We'll be buying natural gas. I mean, really the price will be a reflection of how cheap we get natural gas and how well we run the unit. Or if we can sell portions as well as a group. But we will need the load, and so we'll have to fill it with something. And so this removes risk the most we can, but I can't tell you the exact price. I mean, they give that 65 to 95, but that's a huge window. Yeah.
But there's nobody that's going to increase it on us. We'll be part of that system.
Yeah, we're the owners. I mean, we're voting, we're deciding how things are done, and Umpa's a big owner, and they're really cost conscientious. It's just the opportunity to get the baseball project that, it's gonna be difficult to, I imagine, I imagine it'll get to a point where, it's very hard to get into baseball projects where they cost more.
But Sean, we're not signing this agreement, we're gonna get a bill for $9 million.
No, is that what you're?
Well, that's what you're saying, that's what it's gonna cost us, but we're doing the exploratory to
Yes.
see if we can even.
Yeah, if it all pans
do this,
out.
but we're only in at 2%. And so it may cost us some thousands of dollars to get to the point that if it's a go, then UAMPS will bond for that and we'll just pay for our portion of it.
We're just, some of us have been here while we talked about the nuclear.
Yeah.
Yes.
The miniature nuclear reactors that went from a few million to several billion before the.
Springville didn't do that.
Crap.
And that's where I work.
There's not as many regulations here as there were.
Yeah, it's a different, it's.
So I don't want,
technology.
and then you didn't give us any off ramps, and so.
No,
just kind of a
there's
little
no-
bit hesitant.
The only off ramps are if the group decides not to do it, and if they decide to do it, they gotta have a super majority, 75% have to vote, it's good to go.
Is this an equitable product when even as a paper system? We pay in, we're paying our 2%, we get so far into it, and decide we don't want to, can we sell our 2% on the open market to somebody else?
I think for this one, we probably could, I'm not sure.
I want to participate, I wanna be a part of it, I just,
If it's not working, we want to be.
too good to be true, sometimes gets a little bit skeptical, and I don't know that that's this case. I'm just still looking at those.
But it sounds like this is kind of the last ditch effort for us to get into the game and so we need to go to.
Because of the reactor idea, UAPS has missed out on investing for 15 years on what it should have. So some cities were smart enough to build their own power plants and grow them, and then the others got killed in 2022. And so then they all blamed, some of the staff at UAPS, but they should have been pushing the staff. And said, maybe this nuclear thing isn't the only thing, maybe we should be looking at this known technology over here. Well, that's what's happening now, is we're going to the known stuff. Now, if the nuclear changes, that could happen, but I think this is a very conservative number for us. And I think for the others where they did the independent studies on everyone, I feel really good about that. When they did like the Nevo power plant, it wasn't that way, even though it was a good technology and everything. Some people to make it get off the ground bought too much, and a bunch of cities in UAMPS didn't, and then they benefited off the ones that owned it. And so this is like across the board with almost everyone. And so it's a lot better. They've done their homework, they've done their planning, so I feel really good about this one.
So the way I look at it is we have to do something,
Yeah.
and this is the best option that's out there for us.
Yes,
Just
yeah,
move forward.
yeah. It's a known technology. I mean, it's been done all over the place.
Okay. Council, unless there's other questions, I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, I motion that we approve the resolution and authorize the county power project power sales contracts with Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems and related matters as presented by Sean Black, our power director.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Roll call vote starting with Council Hyatt. Okay, Councilman Hudson.
Yes.
Council Rowley.
Yes.
Council Dewitt.
Yes.
Council Christensen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Sean.
Okay, number 2, resolution, real estate purchase contract addendum for property located at 428 East Canyon Road. Okay.
Mayor and Council, we have an opportunity to purchase some property that we've received some funding through some grants with Utah County to make that a trailhead and a park. When Highline Canal is piped and a trail there, and it'll be a nice little park area. Utah County wants to participate with us, so we went to work to try to get this contract or this parcel under contract. And so it's before you to whether you want to approve this real estate purchase contract. And if you do, like the buyers or the sellers are willing, then I think we're ready to go. In Utah counties, we'll get with their commissioners to pay for half of this.
For me, this is no brainer, have some more green space for that area and beautify that area, have more access to recreation for our residents. So I'm pretty excited about this prospect.
It'll be a good project. We won't have the money through the grants until 2028, so there's a few years, but it'll allow us to plan and get just make it a nice project along with Utah County, and it'll help connect some of our trail systems.
Dave, I got a quick question I just thought of. I don't know how old the house is, but have we looked at any asbestos or lead paint or anything like that to know if there's contamination?
We haven't looked at that.
That's something we ought to look at.
We could, I think our plan is to tear it down.
The home's built before 1978, it's probably gonna contain those.
Probably gonna have
things.
something, there's containment. We've had to do that on other buildings.
But if we tear it down, we still have to take care of that.
Right.
So if we are.
With Utah County supplying some of the funding, will the park be ours or will be a joint interlocal?
We
Who
will-
manage it? Who will maintain it?
We will own the property.
Okay,
We will have an interlocal agreement with them on, because they're gonna pay the cost to build the pavilion and stuff like that. So there will be a maintenance type agreement, but it will be in Payson City's name.
will we be maintaining it or Utah County? That's still up for negotiation.
Well, I
guess.
think, Jill, I don't know if you have the answer to that, as far as the maintenance of the park once it's done.
Utah County.
It will probably, it will like.
Yeah, we just called it that.
I think it's gonna be an
Shared
interlocal agreement.
maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, unless there's other questions, I'm ready for a motion on this one as well.
I'll make a motion that we, approve the resolution for the purchase real estate contract and addendum for property located at 428, East Canyon Road.
I second.
There's a motion and seconded, roll call vote started with Council Christensen,
Yes.
Council Hewitt.
Yes.
Council Rowley.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
Council Wyatt.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries.
Thank you, council.
Can I interject something here really quick? It's kind of been on my mind about these and I worry about our parks department and I know Tracy back there was saying that a little tongue in cheek, but I really would love to see like an acreage number associated with the number of employees we have. I know with the police, they say for every 1,000 residents, you should have one police officer. If we have for every 30 acres of park, we need a full-time employee, something along those lines. As we grow parks, we look at, I mean, we've got 500 acres in Bay that we deal with and take care of and they get spread thin and I worry about it. Talking to them yesterday. So I would love to see that number and brought to us and we put it right into our code so that 10 years down the road, we're not neglecting something because we thought what the citizens wanted, so.
We have presented that a couple years ago. We'll re-introduce that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to, there'll be 2 work sessions, and I may preface this, these are work sessions, not, open hearing. So we will discuss, a public hearing, I should say, we'll discuss the information and, we'll go from there. Okay, Michael.
So our first section is about the municipal disconnection request that came to us at the last city council meeting. We wanted to have some follow-up discussion on that. Mr. Chris Wall is here. He can help answer some questions and comments. We have a few things that we've discussed with other property owners in the area that have some potential interest in helping to provide water infrastructure to the area. And so I guess really I just want to open it up for discussion. I do have some slides, but it's most of the stuff you've already seen before. So I would just open it up to discussion now, and then if you have questions, we can go through those.
Maybe you just give us an update on who and what about the water, so we have an update on that.
So So we met with Tyler Haran, which is one of the property owners in the area, Hawkman Holdings. They have a lot of property there. He said that he would be potentially interested in helping to bring culinary water to the area. We'd also recommend that other property owners participate in that. You can see who I've listed there: Hawkman Holdings, the Hyatt Family LC, and Iram Martinez, as well as Mr. Wall himself to bring water to the area.
Can I ask something? So what do you call it? Like, I know like we normally have them set like at 10 years, so they.
Like a pioneering agreement?
Can we do that longer than 10 years? Because I've seen people, I've seen it in my own lifetime here, where they wait till the week after it expired and then they hook onto it. I don't want people to be able to do that. If we're gonna pay to do that, I want it a long time, because people
people are gonna have to do it. It's just a matter of time. And I know Chris, he's too young still. He hasn't hit that 60, year old mark where it's just like, I can't do this anymore, or I don't want to do this anymore. And the majority of people that live out there are in that same situation. It's just a matter of time before they want their kids living there or their grandkids living there. And I want to make sure that they have to pay for that, that they don't just get it for free. Because guess what? We only did it for 10 years. And I would say it's probably 15 or 20 years down the road before, I mean, he's young. Chris is just young, so still. How long can you make it go?
That you can make it longer.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Somebody asked me that.
Travis was saying that it's in our code and it's only for 10 years, so we have to change our.
We can change the code.
Our code would need to be changed first, but I mean, technically speaking, we can go 20, 25.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend going upwards of 50.
No, because we'll be dead and gone.
Well, that and then the infrastructure is really kind of depleted at that point and kind of needs to
Yeah,
be
you
redone.
have to restart over.
I don't know, I just kind of keep looking at the other side of the mountain, those 2.5 acre lots and the urban cowboys that are moving out there and having just a little bit of land for whatever else it might be. I would love, I know it's not in conjunction with what the master plan really says. Maybe not what you really want out there, but I would love to see this in 2.5 acre lots, throw a road down through the middle of it, divide it up. I don't know if you've ever looked at the feasibility cost wise, save yourself a little bit bigger parcel. And I know the green belt is a big issue to stay in that green belt.
Chris, what are your thoughts on smaller
We've already
lots?
pre-sold them all, the 5.25 acre lots.
I didn't think you guys would like it because septic tanks and all that. You can't, there's no way to get.
Because there's no way to get sewer.
Well, that's kind of what pushes me to the 2.5 acre lot.
On an acre lot.
That'd be a lot of
If
septic.
you have
septic.
city water. If
Yeah,
have
you
a
have to
well,
bring city water. That's what I'm
if you have
saying
a
is,
well, you
that's
can.
why we wanted to bring the water
Right.
out there, is because you can have it. I mean, technically, if you go talk to them and you have the right soil, you can do it up to a 5th acre. But like even on my property, there's only a couple places that you could do a 5th acre. Most of it you
Well,
have to do.
all those houses that are right there on the bend, just after Utah Avenue next to the,
Oh, yeah, they're all on.
they're all on septic tanks too, under an agreement that they're supposed to tie in when it gets to there, and I don't know that it was properly
Isn't that
done,
right
and
there
it's
by-
kind of a little bit tricky. But that's, I mean, that's why, but this is the discussion, is whether or not that would push us to put enough capital in the system to maybe go ahead and pull that sewer out to them and put those houses on that. I mean, how many were you looking at? 5
Sewer, we'd
acres?
have to have
Sewer's not, it's not gonna even be. for
a lift
2.5,
station,
not
that'd
even.
be. what,
You
it'd be a
take
lot.
the water out, that makes it feasible,
Drinking water.
drinkable, and I mean, you've already got the irrigation water out there, but you, like I said, you can take an acre lot and put.
Well, yeah, and I understand that. There's a lot of water underneath there, though, as part of the Nebo Water Association, we talk about the amount of water that's underneath West Mountain, and I worry about dumping that much sewage into the watershed, but if it's for 10 years, 15 years, and then the sewer will be out there and we can tie those properties in, but it's an added expense to something. I'm just talking, if there was enough money to be made on the 2.5 acre lots that you could afford it that way, if the market was there for it. I know that the people of West Mountain want the little bit bigger lots, a little bit nicer houses. And if we can kind of set a precedence with this, maybe we can.
What size of property are you talking about? We're not talking about 2.5.
5.25.
5.25 is what Chris has proposed.
But he hasn't even looked at 2.5, have you?
I looked at the numbers, and it's harder to do because you're not getting as much. The finances don't work out as well, putting a road down the middle and trying to get water out there and everything. But I've looked at the water since I was here last, it's just a really big number to get it out there. I came in to talk to the staff about it. I don't know how we can do it even if, unless somebody big like the Moonhawk Holdings really wants to go forward with it. Seriously. Hawk Moon.
Well, that's,
When I talked to him, they didn't sound that serious, so that's why I don't.
Well, I think.
well,
he
he's
would-
on, we could
Yeah.
ask him.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? I don't know if I'm on my cell phone, so.
Go ahead, Nick, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, so and appreciate Michael kind of yeah, like Michael said, we talked with staff and I can be a little bit more definitive, right? Because I think Michael just doesn't want to speak, for us. But yeah, we are willing, like we will come in with money, right? Cash to pay for the water line, our, a portion of it, I guess. But our only request would be that we could maybe get a development agreement for our property, just just consistent with that plan that the city just spent like a year or two designing. We would just if we could get a development agreement that eventually when the sewer line gets put out there, um if we could build what's shown on that plan, then it makes sense for us to spend the money to help take that water line out there.
So Tyler, to stick with the plan or to increase density with your plan?
Well, this is density, he already has the density.
He has it empty.
Yeah, sorry. It's that we have like I think we have 3 projects that are around 100 acres each. This project out there, we are just saying just stick with exactly what's already approved out there. We just did that plan. It's brand new. There was a lot of time put into it. So we're just saying with that plan, we think it makes sense.
So Michael, Robert, what does the plan call for the parcel he's referring to?
8 to an acre.
Most of what Tyler's requesting is gonna be, low to moderate, density, meaning anywhere from 1 to 3 units per acre or 3 to 5, but there would be some up to 8, depending on what parcels of property that he has in that area.
And see, he was, where the Spring Creek's at, he went, like, that's gonna be a park area, and, I mean, there's some really good things planned for that area.
I think that it would be great to see, have White Horse put down what they're expecting out of us, what they're willing to put into it. And have CW write down what they're needing and see if we're even in the same ballpark. If we're not, I'm more than happy to let the 5 1/4 acres go and do it, whatever they need to do. I just don't want to, lose that as part of Payson.
And what we're doing, it's not, we're just discussing and we're not gonna make a decision.
No, and that's what I'm saying. We kind of need to know where to go from here, what.
The 45 days is kicking down, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have it until December 21st, which is a Saturday, so we have 2 additional meetings in between now and then. That we need to make a decision on this.
And I don't want to drag our feet. Is CW, are you still okay with us, working through this and trying to make it work for you,
Yeah,
or?
one time we talked about water.
Yeah,
They said there wasn't enough water to go out there to do much without a new well.
okay,
When I talked to White Horse.
right.
The other.
That's Tyler.
Well, White Horse is the parent company, Hawk Moon is the land they own.
Tyler told me there wasn't enough water, even if we brought it out there to do very much development. Maybe he can clarify that now, I don't know.
Tyler?
Yeah, when I met with Michael and Jonathan earlier this week, that is the one thing that I wouldn't say I don't know that I just don't know how much capacity Payson City's system has. But that to me, like the process to go forward, kind of the pragmatic approach is let's kind of hire an engineering firm to just do a high level study and say, if we were to run this water line out here, would it serve CW's development? Like, would there be enough pressure or capacity to serve the development? And then if it's feasible, then then we can kind of go and talk about numbers, like dollar amount, right? How much it would cost. That's kind of my perspective on it.
Yeah, we ought to at least.
Yeah, we
find out
gotta
if it's
see
feasible.
what's available to go out there.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing to do with them.
That's what you know.
I'm always up here, what Sean's talking about, just because he's up here every week asking for money. Like my kids. So with the water situation, the Redbridge well should provide enough source for this area. the biggest problem that we have right now is storage. We're very near our capacity with storage. And so we're already looking at siting another tank. We've been talking with Patterson Homes, who maybe putting in a tank on the south end of the Payson View Estates. But with that being said, if we loop the water from the Red Bridge development under the tracks over to this area, and then up 2400 west, and then down 200 north or south, the pressure would be fine. The supply is there. It's just a matter of deciding how big of a line, does Whitehorse need for their development? How big does Chris Wall need for his development? How big does Teresa need? And then determining how big of a line do we need to put in order to serve all of that? And then if the costs come in at, well, if Teresa only needed an 8-inch, or everyone only needed 8 inches, but we needed a 24 to get the pressures we needed, we would figure out the costs, and if there was any upsizing charges, then the city would cover it. And that's typically how we work out with these types of projects. But as far as water with the Red Bridge well, as soon as it comes online, which is getting close, we're still just waiting on SCADA to get figured out. But the source, we have enough source for it.
What is SCADA?
SCADA is a satellite communication, something or other. It basically lets the supervise control it tells the equipment, it communicates with the equipment to control panels at like Cam on his phone can get updates when a pump goes offline or stuff like that. So that's all it is.
Okay, well, I'm in agreement of hiring, probably Hanson and Lewis.
So actually Consor does our modeling right now. And so, yeah, we can easily ask them to
I'm wondering
figure out.
if we need to maybe look at a west side tank. I know that we're not quite there. And I see Travis, he's getting nervous when I start talking.
Oh, we definitely need a west side tank, but we also need another.
Or I just.
Travis doesn't like to get up to the microphone, and so that's why he was feeling
Travis
hesitant.
is my friend, because he didn't have to get up all the time anymore, and I never saw
We
him.
already have 2 rough sites. I mean, we haven't gone in and actually done any geotech studies or anything, but there's one, like Jonathan was saying, by the Patterson property. The other one is on the east side of P Mountain. And there's a third one possibly up on West Mountain, up above by the landfill. Those are the 3 that eventually we would put in to help meet our need for everything. So it really comes down to where is the biggest pressure. Your next work session will want to be the one over by P Mountain. And then this one would be better served by the one at Patterson. So it just kind of depends which direction we really want to focus on.
So which direction are you talking about? Which?
Payson View Estates.
Where's that at?
On the east side.
Just north of Spring Lake.
Oh, well, that's what I was wondering, because that's clear up, to me, that's on this side of the Peak Mountain.
The thing I like about the West Mountain site is that we'd be pushing water up and it would come back down and maybe maintain more freshness is kind of what my thought process is with that. And
That's how it works for all water tanks. They're bred because they're always built in a mountain.
Well, so here's the problem. If we go from Red Bridge out and we put our tank on P Mountain and push it out, they're at the end of a stagnant line, and the stagnant lines do cause problems. And if we've overbuilt it.
Well, it wouldn't be a stagnant line because we would loop it up to 200 south. So our water line ends at Intermountain Nutrition. And so we would have to loop it up 2400 west.
Fill us in with this information.
I'm pretty sure I said that we would loop it when I first started describing it.
One thing, I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but one
This
one
is
thing
what we're
that,
gonna teach your kids on Friday at school.
Tyler, go ahead.
yeah, one thing that I've found that's just really impressive is how good some professionals are. Like, I haven't worked with this Consor group, but Hanson, Allen, Luce, and whoever, if we pay somebody to study it, they'll give us really good information, and that makes your guys' job really easy, right? They just do a really good job of saying, you know, for right now, you know, to service CW's development, you know, we can put in a water line that's 12 inches in diameter, and that'll actually take care of all the lots he needs to build. And it'll also provide, you know, water for 500 more lots. And then in 7 years, when you've built out that many lots, 7 years from now is when you need to build a tank. And that's usually kind of how the timing works. It just, usually it's like one step at a time. And so I think if we get, you know, some good information, it'll help you guys make a good decision.
And to that point, we've made a determination of how many lots and the density out there that we would assign, right? The picture that I just had up there. If we keep to that plan, then we've already made that determination of what size the water line is going to need to be, how big the storage facility is going to need to be to serve that area.
Okay, so
That's correct.
We would go up what the
Install
plan
the
is.
line that would service it into the future.
Yeah.
We don't know how far into the future it's going to come online, but it would be there.
Yeah.
and that would go with all of the engineering. So what are we talking to pay the engineers to figure this out?
It wouldn't be that much work if we just give them the area of specific plan. It's got the units already assigned. They likely already have the model, because I'm pretty sure Hanson Allen Luce looked at it at one point. And so we still have that model, just Consour's running it now. And so it should be easy enough for them to just assign the densities and.
Could we have information back by the first council meeting in December? I know we've got a holiday in there and that's probably a push, but
Absolutely.
I would love to see that, and then let's.
I have a guy at Consor owes me a few favors.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I have a question on development agreements. So Whitehorse said that they'd like to kind of have a development agreement in place, knowing that the sewer is not there yet. How long can we have a development agreement in place before somebody starts building? So I'm saying, you know, it might be 2 or 3 years before sewer gets there, or practical for sewer. So but they wanted to know that help pay for the water line, that they have this development agreement. So how long can we have a development agreement in place without them actually starting to build?
Jason said forever.
I wouldn't say forever. We can do, I mean, if we're projecting maybe 10, 15 years, we can do it for 15 or 20, just to get past that range.
Yeah, I'm not talking about pioneer agreement, I'm just talking about the development agreement for that one project.
Right. Yeah, most of our development agreements, one we're working on right now is
20 with the extensions.
yeah, so I mean, development agreements can be longer. I do know of a couple cities that have done upwards of 50, but I don't think we need that.
And I would just add that development agreement.
Robert, you have to come up to the microphone so Kim can hear you on the Zoom.
That development agreement is to protect both sides.
Right. Tyler, what are you looking at? I mean, is this in its infancy, or are you hoping that with this you could jump on and move in 3 years, or are you looking at 10 to 15?
Yeah, I think it'd be a little bit longer, like maybe the 5+ years before I think it would make sense to look at putting in the sewer. Really, the ask, like why we would like a zone change in a development agreement, is because like if we go out to the market to get funding, like say, you know, we don't want to just put up, you know, $15 million of cash to go build that sewer line. Like maybe we want to get financing, you know, banks and you know, really any lender like bond, you know, they are really reluctant to issue any sort of capital if we don't have development rights vested. And so it really kind of handcuffs us when we get in the situation where it's like we're trying to negotiate for, you know, a development agreement with the city, but then it's like, well, you need to do the infrastructure first. And so what we're trying to accomplish is to get kind of the development rights vested. And then whenever it makes sense to spend the money to build those offsite improvements, we have the ability to do that. So what Robert suggested, and I think it's very reasonable, is we could just kind of vest the development rights just with what's already approved in the plan. And then we can put in the development agreement, if you're concerned about us kind of jumping the gun, that, you know, obviously we recognize that there has to be sewer there. There has to be, you know, utilities to service that development. That's, I think, really reasonable.
Development agreement should be pretty easy to reach as long as it stays within the plan that we've adopted.
Yeah, and he's not asking for anything that hasn't already been approved with the area specific plan. It's just, he just wants that zoning assigned now. So he can get the funding if he chooses to go that route.
Why do you mention zone change?
He didn't, no, well, because right now it's an ag zone or an A5H. And with the area specific plan, it's assigned as, like, I don't know what it is, R110 or whatever. He wants the R110 zone assigned to it right now. So that, like he was talking about, so he can go get the funding if they choose to do that instead of just put up the cash.
That's fine. I'm just making sure that we're not running water out there, making a deal to later on increase the density out there, because that's not what I want.
No, and that's not what Tyler wants either.
Nope, nope, I'll be super clear. What it is already on the plan that's approved out there, that I know Robert spent a good chunk of his health and sanity on, that's exactly what we're asking for.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm gonna throw a Christiansenism out there, and I apologize to everybody that's listening. Any of you that know me, if this is.
We accept.
You accept. Okay, so with CW interested in this, White Horse coming down the pipe, we talked about 2.5 versus 5.25 acres, whichever you decide on is fine. The one thing that kind of comes back to me all the time is I would love to have the engineers tell me what like a regional septic system would actually look like. So if we took all of these houses on this 100 acres, brought them in, put them into one septic system that sat on 2.5 acres owned by the city of Payson. Listen, I'm listening. And at the end of this, when it's all said and done, you're still dumping the same amount of sewage into the ground. We're still working that way. It needs to be dealt with. We can deal with it. We charge the residents out there their sewer rates, just like a normal citizen in here would have. When it's all said and done, we slap some nice grass over the top of this 2.5 acres and make a nice little park out there. And we've got one tie-in to tie it into the sewer system. We can collapse the septic system where it sits and move on.
And the grass is pre-fertilized.
And the grass is pre-fertilized. And this is where an engineer comes in. I come up with the crazy ideas, and then Travis tells me I'm stupid, but
I'll never tell you you're stupid, Brett. I like you too much.
Really, to me, I think that's the problem that we have over by the little subdivision that's all on septic systems, is to come in and do it now is a very costly, tear up everybody's yard, tying in all the sewer, you've got to get all your drain rights. And I just don't, that's where my hang up is. And if they go with 5-acre lots and it's laid out just right, you know, maybe they want to subdivide later and get a little bit smaller piece. And I know that's what people want. I mean, I live on a large parcel considering I'm in the city limits. But that's why I like to think outside the box on that.
Yeah, instead of doing like a neighborhood septic system, we would just push for the regional lift station. You know, you're already gravity flowing from all the houses anyways. You gravity flow them to a specific location, and then we build the lift station. And we have plans for different size lift stations that I can share with you at any time. And
okay.
And
I mean that comes back to all of those. Just want to see those numbers. And
yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you can drop the size of the pipe for a lift station. You're already gonna have the ground open to run the water. If we get to that stage,
it's hard to joint trench water and sewer because they have to be 10 feet apart. So it's and then sewer's usually a lot deeper. They're usually 6 feet deeper, or a few feet
I
deeper.
understand that.
So when you're saying it's a step we don't need to take with the Brett's.
We don't need to examine the possibility of a neighborhood style septic
because of
field.
Plans for.
Yeah, we do have locations, like rough locations identified of where a regional lift station should go for this area. And we borrowed plans from Orem City. They've done 3 different size lift stations. And so we have those plans that we've borrowed and we've kind of thinking we're gonna run with. And so I can get costs from Orem on what it took them to build those and.
So what do you mean by, I mean, would that be, would we go over the road? Would we truck it out with a lift station, or would you run pipes to get it back into the sewer? What?
Yeah, so with the lift station, you gravity flow everything to the lift station, then you pump it out into a force main sewer line.
Right.
And then that goes into the closest gravity line that then flows to our sewer plant.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still a matter of running a line, and that's all, that's just kind of, I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page in what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, it's not ideal to, like you said, we don't wanna dump 19 or 150 homes sewage into the ground for the next
Well,
50
and I'm
years.
trying to look at the developer as well. I don't know, what is the average cost of a septic system right now? I mean, they don't let you put those things in for free.
I think that my last one was like, let's say around 9,000.
And when was that?
1987.
No, 2 years ago. I did a venue up in Spring Lake.
But really what we're talking about right now is not doing a septic system. We're talking about bringing water out there. And, when the homes get built, then that would be the time to
Right.
do the sewers.
Well, for Chris's property specifically, he would have to start with, when he subdivides and plats, he would have to put on there that every homeowner is responsible to get their septic system approved through the county and the state and whatever it takes to get that approved, and they're responsible for it. And then we would just put in with the agreement that when sewer is available, that it would need to be switched over.
Chris is a shorter term than what we're talking about.
Yeah, Tyler, yeah, because Chris is an immediate, I mean, December 21st, right? That's how quickly he needs a decision. With Tyler, he's got a few years. I mean, they've got other priorities ahead of building over there. And so, he's just saying for them, it's worth the investment to help with this water line, because whether they pay for it now and help the situation, or they pay for it on, in 5 years, 10 years off of pioneering agreement, they're still gonna be participating. And so costs are never gonna go back down, so getting in early is a lot easier than getting in later.
And that's why I asked for the work session.
Yeah.
I'm so involved in it here. I mean, I look at it, you're gonna sink a well, and if you don't, you gotta have, how many lots are you looking at, Chris?
18 or 19.
18 or 19, so
5
you've
and a
got
quarter.
19, I mean, we round to 20 just to make numbers easy. You got about 20 septic systems and about 20 wells. What's it cost to sink a well? And those, I don't want you to pay for those. I want that to be something that's passed on. It's added to the purchase.
So we wouldn't have to sink a single well.
We wouldn't have to put any wells in.
No, for him, if we don't run a culinary water,
Right.
they're gonna sink 20 wells into the.
Correct.
And that's all there is to it.
But Chris wouldn't pay for that either. It would be whoever buys the water.
Right. But if you put $30,000 into the budget for a well for each one, and I don't know what. it
Wells are a
costs.
lot more than the septic tank.
Yeah, and so you put that in there, you've got almost $1 million.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, you're about to get changed over on job, sir.
I'm just gonna jump in and say that we are into the weeds at this point, and it's good conversation, but I wanna also acknowledge the fact that the poor applicant, we haven't really had a chance to discuss all of this with him yet. And I would suggest to give us a chance to sit down with Chris, let us understand where he's at this point, because really the decision before you is going to be disconnection or not, right?
Well, and
we can continue to design and all of those different things, but I would love to give the chance to Chris to kind of absorb everything that we just went through and all of this additional information, and give him the chance to kind of mold it over and which direction are we moving? We clearly, as a city, are just fine with him staying within the city.
We'll work with him on that type of development, but we have some requirements in order to do that, right? I mean, we need these utilities in order to make this work. That's something that he's going to have to also mull over and see if that additional investment is going to be something that he can handle. Maybe with the help of these additional property owners, we can do that. But at this point, I would say, let us go back and work with him and then come back at the next one. We'll put this on for a decision as well. And you can table that one more time, but we'll put it on for a decision, update you with all of the information that we've had, give him a chance to express his concerns, his feelings moving forward.
With Tyler and others.
Yeah, this was a really good opportunity for us to talk to one major landowner. There are others out there that would also need to be consulted, but just to give you a little bit more information to have an additional conversation.
Yes, we'd be missed if we didn't do that.
And my push here was to make sure that Chris knew that as a council, we were here to work with him and to do what he needs. And so my go to the homework I'd love to see done is that study done on the water and maybe just a quick glance at the sewer to see what's there. And then I'm gonna throw a 3-letter acronym out there as if anybody yells at me, but what about looking at another PID for a little bit of that? And I know that's a big word and I'm not sure the whole timeline on that. That's a public infrastructure district, for those that don't know, which allows us to levy a tax, a property tax on these properties that would pay for this infrastructure over time. And we did with
gotta
Red
find
Bridge,
out what the other resources
and we're
were
not
first.
really great there, so.
That is always a possibility, not created by us as a
Right.
city.
Right, we don't do that. That would just be education to you if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah.
But, and then we can come back and we can make a decision, and if we need to, we can cut the ties and let him go and do his thing, and I just don't want him to go, I wish we would have just maybe worked through it just a little bit more.
And we really appreciate Chris,
Yes, thank you,
all of your
Chris.
patience.
So we've got enough information for you guys to do that, and then you can bring
Well,
it
we
back.
have lots of information, yes.
Robert, could I maybe just add one more quick thought real quick? I don't know, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, just real quick. One other major landowner out there, that I think it is worth mentioning it and, is, Payson City. Obviously, you guys and your land out there. And I know Brian Hewlett's worked on some really cool plans for different city projects that honestly, over the years, I've heard, different rumors of stuff that might happen out there. And honestly, it's kind of exciting. And I think, like, when I think about Payson City, you guys have obviously an amazing canyon, but West Mountain is also just an awesome area. And I think anything we can do to get utilities closer to that area just opens up possibilities for, whatever the city decides to do. But getting water and power out there really does just kind of open up a lot of possibilities for the city. So that's just the other thing I have been thinking about.
Great point.
Read it.
One final point just to Chris, I think because of the septic situation, I think the bigger lots would be the most favorable way to go, I think, and I don't want to see it get too dense out there either. So.
Okay, I think we've discussed this to the extent we need to, and then, unless there's any objection, we'll move on to the second. Do we need any more information?
Chris, we'd like a barn store on Main Street, please.
Okay.
The barn.
We will move from this one to number 2, which is discussion regarding the South Farm space and development. Robert, you're up.
Perfect. I'm just going to do a little bit of introduction and context. We appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and to introduce you to a project that will be coming before you. The Southern Farms project and the Southern Farms folks are here. Let me just kind of orient you. This is obviously a map of Payson. This red line up here is 8,000 south. This does not represent our current city boundary. This represents our annexation policy plan. So it's intended that one day our city boundary will go all the way up there. Our current city boundary is a little bit difficult to see, but it's in black here. So it's just right down here.
You can zoom up on that picture and there we go.
There we go.
So this is the current boundary. This is our station area that we've been working on for quite a while. New interchange will be coming through here, Nebo Beltway, this direction and this direction. This is the railroad, one of the railroad lines, freeway here. So this area right here tonight is what we're going to be speaking about. The Southern Farms folks here are going to be presenting some plans that they've been working on. We appreciate their diligence in working with us. They've come to us, and we are at the point where we need your input as well. As staff and as the development community, they need your input as well, just to understand where you're at. Maybe to explain some of these colors, this big bluish purple blob is very interesting. This is what's been identified as kind of that transit area. We weren't exactly sure where the station would be. We weren't exactly sure what that would look like. We know now that it's down here, right? But there's proximity here of other additional uses. These are, the purple is some sort of industrial, the kind of, I don't know, is this peach, salmon? I don't know, pink, whatever. This is commercial, and then some medium and higher density homes there. So that's kind of the context of what we're talking about. As you listen tonight, I would encourage, let them go through the whole presentation. Write down your questions, and then we want to hear from you, and we want to hear your responses and your reactions, your suggestions, those types of things. Look for ways that Payson City could be benefited, maybe some impacts, things that we need to work out as we move forward. Additionally, think about the phasing of this. This is not an overnight project, as you will see. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and let them take over.
Robert, thank you, and thanks to the staff, and I just want to thank the council for putting us on the agenda tonight. We really appreciate it. And there's been a lot of topics. Our topic is we're trying to get in. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is John Seastrand. I'm part of the development team, and this is Haley. She's going to run through. Are you going to have David? Okay. So we're going to run through this quick, but anyway, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. So our topic is we would like to bring 400 acres plus into Payson City. And our project is called Southern Farms. We have a mission statement, which is really to build a great community, similar to what Payson is. Our goal is to expand Payson and the place that you've created already into this area and help absorb a lot of the growth that is definitely coming to Payson. Our team's pretty simple. My name's John Seastrand. I grew up here in Orem in Utah County. I've lived here a large part of my life. Went to school with our civil engineer, Matt Brown, and my partner, Mark Bond. He is the owner, the majority owner of the land that will be annexed in, and we control all but about 100 acres of the land that's being annexed in. And then Randy Young has been instrumental in developing relationships with many of the families and the farmers that live in this area that have been willing to sell their farms. This wouldn't have happened without Randy. So that's our team really that have been able to do something pretty amazing to assemble this land that needs to be assembled to execute on your general plan, which we've seen. We have other team members which we could talk about down the road that are here tonight. Just a real quick run you through our timeline. I'm going to just let Dave do this really quick. You can just kind of read the highlights of that.
These are the things sort of accomplished.
Yeah, I just wanted to go through these quickly, but we've been very methodical about doing the due diligence necessary to come in, with our eyes wide open. We really like the general plan that you proposed, and we're trying to follow that and be consistent with what you proposed. But obviously, to make this kind of investment, we needed to do a lot of due diligence and talk to a lot of people. We talked to UVU, we talked to, learning about the front runner. Our main attractions were the front runner coming in, the addition of the UDOT off ramp, exit ramp, and your general plan, and the ability to come in and create a master planned community in this area, to that general plan with this scope of land. So we did, Mayor, you'll remember, we met with you probably, trying to remember, was it the spring of 2023? And so we've tried on several occasions to reach out and communicate. I feel like we've had a really good relationship with the staff. I don't think Travis is called stupid yet, but Matt would know. So we're just doing all our homework. I just want you to know, we're long-term players. We've been assembling. There's a lot of developers that they look at IRR and quick, returns. Mark Bond, the owner of this property, this is kind of a legacy asset for him and his family, with the intention to sell off to home builders, and to keep the commercial and the income producing, real estate as we develop it. So this is, I feel like we're really in lockstep with Payson City. This project means a lot to us. It's a legacy for us. It's just not something that we're, going to be here. I think this is the beginning of a very long-term relationship, and I hope it's a really good relationship for both of us. We want to help Payson accomplish its goals for growth and create some smart growth. So that's just a map of what we control in the blue, and it's about 404 acres. I will point out, we're picking up the little piece on the other side of the freeway too, so we're going to complete. There's no islands in this annexation. It's a pretty thorough annexation. And then you've already seen this. This is this is kind of helpful. I don't know how often you look at the other cities, but that's Salem and also Spanish Fork. So all three cities have interest in growing this area, and I think part of that reason is one, proximity to Front Runner Station, proximity to I-15, proximity to infrastructure and utilities, and so we've done the homework on the infrastructure. We wouldn't have made this investment had we not been working with Travis and civil engineering to know that we can perform and do what we're going to tell you we're going to do.
So did that, to say that red line is going over to the west side of the freeway, is that what, or am I misunderstanding?
No, over to the right, there's a left-hand box.
You said there wouldn't be an island.
Yeah, we that's in Salem. So we do own the property on the Salem side of I-15. So it's kind of the front, it's kind of the front door of I-15 on both the east and the west. So we can control, and we need to talk to you at some point about annexing down into the Payson side. But those red lines are just showing properties where we could eventually expand up into Spanish Fork with this master planned area.
Okay.
Did that answer your question, Mayor?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Dave Harris. Dave's a fantastic land planner and landscape architect. I think that's one of the things that we've done different is we want to bring this in and bring some guardrails in to really protect the neighborhood and keep the home builders. We're not home builders. Okay, we're going to keep the guardrails on the home builders. We're going to work with you to make sure that they do what we want them to do.
So you had some, on the last slide, just before you run off on that one, you had some that were non-participating. And I know this sometimes feels like Big Brother stepping in. How oppositional are they to this? Are they just like, well, we don't really care what you do, we're just gonna sit on the fence, or are they?
There's 7, yeah, I'd love to answer that real quick. There's 7 landowners that have not signed the annexation petition. The largest one is a 50-acre parcel, but they've worked with us. They're supportive of the plan. There's 20 acres of commercial land that they just haven't really communicated with us, but I think they'll come along. The remaining 5 are very small some of these people are very older people and they have issues like with, you know, are utilities gonna go up or so forth, so. Haven't really had a lot of resistance, and we are the majority landowner of what's being annexed.
Well, and I understand that, that's why they have the rules to set up the way they are, but at the same time, I don't wanna really squash the little guy if we can help it, but they're not super oppositional, and it's just, they're kind of fence sitters, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we've set up kitchen table with most of these farmers. And we know them, we know the history of this area, and we're sensitive to that.
So that black dotted line, is that 8,000 south, the black dotted line?
Yeah, that's 8,000 south.
Okay.
Well, it's also, isn't that the property boundary, the annexation line?
Yep, that's your,
So
annexation boundary.
to the bottom would be Salem's, the one to the right is Salem Spanish Forks. Okay.
Yeah, so we just combined all the cities, the Spanish Fork, Salem and Payson, general plans here, so we're really excited about this, our team is really excited about it, just because we feel like we're falling right in line with your general plan, the future of the front runner, the UVU campus, the growth, and we understand this is gonna be incremental. We want to be very careful about phasing this and making sure that it fits in, but we're gonna make it easy for you guys. We're gonna work with the staff and like we said, we're a master development team. So we're gonna create a community development plan that's approved through your staff and through this process. So that we kind of buffer you guys from the day-to-day subdivision arguments you might have with builders, so to speak. So we'll have a very detailed plan. Today, we're just gonna show you a very high level vision of our master plan, just to get your feedback and kind of start that discussion and partnership with you. This is a general framework plan, just showing the road networks. We've worked with Mag and Matt Brown and the team to develop, and this does tie into the regional transportation master plan and other aspects, tying into future connections to Salem to the east. You can see kind of going under I-15 over there.
Would that be like a new underpass right there? You're not gonna try to shove cars through that little tunnel, are you?
Well, we're gonna make special little cars.
The car, the people between the two.
But, as this area improves, and as you guys know, the interchange down here for the Bamberger Ranch property will come ahead of this development most likely. And then as this 8,000 South interchange gets improved, we're hoping to improve that crossing there and connect to the Salem side and have a connected neighborhood. But 8,000 South at the top. And then Bear Creek right here, kind of as an amenity corridor right there in the middle. And then this is just showing a framework plan. This is a total open space of about 18%, which includes parks, open space, bikeways, and kind of critical environment, which is wetlands, habitat, and things like that.
So, I mean, I love this. I love that you've taken the time to draw it. I worry you've discussed with UDOT, is that an underpass right there? Would that be an overpass? Because I know they definitely take different amounts of land.
We haven't gone to that level of detail with UDOT yet. We have had meetings with UDOT, and we did have a design charrette here in your city earlier this year in January. And we had everybody come and provided feedback, including MAG and UDOT and UTA and the front runner folks. So we've spent our master planning team has spent a lot of time kind of up front doing as much kind of collaboration with Payson City and with the surrounding elements. So just a lot of investment ahead of time.
I do appreciate you looking ahead. I love to see that connecting between the two and keep moving it forward.
Yeah. So this is just kind of showing a palette of visionary elements that we're hoping will continue this conversation with staff and with Payson. We want to be part of Payson and just celebrate the beautiful small town that you have. We see the improvements you've done to your downtown. We want to celebrate that and be kind of an extension of everything that Payson has done. We don't want to create anything dramatically new, so we want to be very complimentary to the culture here and be context sensitive. So we're looking at having the Bear Creek area, just having the natural open space and trails. The architecture should be complementary to the historic architecture here in Payson, the pioneer heritage, things like that. This is kind of showing the future of transit-oriented development and the walkability and having architecture and, pedestrians accessing that front runner station in a really meaningful, active way. We don't want to back to it. We've got a lot of front to these activities. Future mixed-use development should be at the right scale and a pedestrian scale similar to Payson downtown, and having smaller blocks, walkable blocks, so not dead end cul-de-sacs and things like that. We want to be, when we talk about that type of development, we say planning terms is neo-traditional, meaning we're going back to the good old 50s and 60s where we had the traditional block and, beautiful neighborhoods and, shaded streets.
Grid, straight lines. I know that looks wavy in there, but when you cram it between a freeway and a railroad track, you gotta put curves.
We gotta have a few things in there. So the other part is our development team. We have Matt Brown as the civil engineer. He's going to work with the staff. We're going to make it really easy for you because we're going to work out the street sections with the fire department and make sure everything comes and it's staff and city supported. We're going to have a JZMK, which is a really international award-winning planning team from California. It's going to help us with architectural design guidelines. What that means is we're going to build a pattern book that's part of the community plan and part of the zoning and the development agreement. That's going to have the teeth for us as the development team to approve each site plan as it comes through. So we'll be doing the approving and the heavy lifting for you guys before it comes to you. But it'll be in coordination with staff. These are just some more images of kind of the character that we're looking for and the scale of the housing. So just a very diverse housing typology, everything from just attainable housing for entry-level home buyers, some rentals, and then a mix of medium and high density residential. So a whole kind of a scale of different types of housing. So this is a neighborhood commercial. One thing that we're really starting to do is to make it look authentic and traditional, just like downtown Payson. So just having these kind of quirky little candy stores or ice cream stores on the corner, or maybe a little fruit stand selling fresh fruit and apples and bananas and things on the corner. We want to tuck those in within the neighborhood and not make it really contrived. So we just want to have these opportunities within the master plan to have these little really neat little experiences. Even the industrial land, we have some industrial to complement the general plan that you guys have. Even that can be very nicely done. So we'll have guardrails and design guidelines for that as well. Tuck them in the neighborhood, make them walkable and approachable. And then these are some preliminary models that we've developed just to show you some of the plans and some of our ideas. One of our major amenities is we're planning to do a bikeway, a separated bikeway throughout the whole community. It's about a 50-foot wide easement that allows people to circulate to the village center, to the front runner station, down to the Bear Creek open space without being on a major street. So a safe bikeway. And then the residents and the homes will be forward architecture, what we call living in the front of the house. So you'll have eyes on the bikeway. You'll have moms and dads on the front porches and have this active amenity throughout the community. This is just another shot of potentially a typical residential street. So you see the bikeway crossing is kind of a zero curb condition where you kind of ramp up to it. So it's a pedestrian first space with the residential homes in the background, shaded streets, curb separated sidewalks, just really safe, walkable neighborhood. So the whole community kind of becomes an amenity is what we're planning on. So
this image here is just, these are just other images of that bikeway system, different design styles. It's not totally engineered yet, so we're just kind of showing the vision at this point, just to get to staff and council feedback at this point. So a lot of these spaces could be that, you know, these community gathering spaces, picnic tables, fire pits, seating, you know, along the bikeway and throughout the whole community. Bikeways will connect to schools, parks, you know, public facilities. These are internal, you know, residential neighborhood parks throughout the neighborhood. You'll see it on the master plan. And these will be activated. Primarily, the bikeway system and these neighborhood parks will be owned and maintained by the HOA. The larger parks we visualize being, you know, turned over to the city. So this is a really good image. I like this one. This is one that we're kind of exploring just to illustrate that attainable housing strategy, showing, you know, for rent products on the right-hand side, or maybe, you know, mixed use, more multi-family housing. You have the bikeway going down the middle, fire pits and seating, and then you have some single-family homes on the other side. So this really stitching together of a wide range of housing typologies, housing types that are both attainable for all demographics. This is a shot of what we anticipate to see in on the main boulevard coming through the center of the community. So this is our main infrastructure, our road with you know, traffic and parking. You might see a future village center on the right-hand side with multifamily on the left, nice broad white sidewalks, walkable. But again, this is way down the road, right? This is phase. We have 9 phases in this project, so this could be, you know, 10, 20 years out. We don't know. It's kind of dependent on the market and working with the city and getting infrastructure, everything else in place. This is our preliminary master plan. Again, 8,000 South at the top there. That main arterial street coming down the middle is the curvy one. And then you can see our Savannah blocks, our neighborhood parks, and our bikeways are truly separated amenities that stitch the neighborhood together to a village core that would be one of our last phases once we have the rooftops and the infrastructure in place to support this mixed use development in the center, that those bikeways would connect there. We have perimeter bikeways that would connect down here to the front runner station, which would be just south of us. So the red color is commercial, the pink color is mixed use development. The yellow and orange colors are single family homes for sale, you know, mixed use from single family to townhomes and a little bit mid to higher density. And then the purple are commercial light industrial zones. And then you can see Bear Creek where we preserved some larger parcels for potential ball fields and that level of service that we need to provide to the city. We haven't really located any fire stations or schools or parks or, you know, like services for the city yet. That's something that we're still negotiating with staff and come back and get additional feedback from the council on that as well. And as you know, we've been working with Matt. He's been doing a lot of background research on the infrastructure, so we already have kind of a preliminary sewer, water plan, and all those strategies in place to know that it is feasible to do this project and kind of bring it into play. So that's kind of our preliminary overview of Southern Farms. We're really excited about it, and matches your general plan. I think we'll deliver exactly what you guys want and need here in Payson.
Okay. That is, you know, just a real 10,000 foot look at what you're thinking of, right?
Yeah, 10,000 foot, just our first introduction to the project and just get your feedback. We can answer questions now. You can mow on it. Get staff to beat us up. However you
I don't think we know enough right now to ask a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
There just might be a little bit too much work on that map for my taste, and I know that as a council, we talk about it, seems like we've got our densities met in a lot of different places, and so
And that place is gonna be real dense, already, the whole surrounding areas, so, so I'd like to see personally a little less density. And then also avoid compartmentalizing the neighborhoods of certain densities. You run into socioeconomical problems when there's, all the apartments right here, all the, I think mixing. And then also, for the proximity to I-15, I don't think that's enough commercial to provide for that area either. I think there should be more commercial for the proximity to I-15. And then, a few other ideas, adequate parking at the houses, the wider the roads, the better. And yeah, the maintenance and all the pocket parks can become problematic. I know it looks wonderful on the pictures. Man, it can be a maintenance nightmare in a place for too many people to hang out and do bad things, and it can just be problematic. So sometimes if we move away from the pocket parks and just do bigger parcels, bigger lots, I think it holds its value better as well.
Appreciate it.
when we sell it.
Yeah, we hear those comments very well, and definitely we'll work on those with the staff and with the city.
We've already had some problems with the pocket parks that we've got, that the maintenance problems, and nobody really uses them.
Okay, yeah,
Maybe have a big park, just one big park
okay.
that has all the fun stuff on it, because everybody's gonna go to that park.
Becomes a gathering place for the
Yeah,
community.
yeah, instead of
Yeah.
just, they don't, our pocket parks do not work. We just have to mow them all the time. Oh, he's gone.
Well, the problem with some of the pocket parks is they feel like they belong to a residential house.
Yeah.
Right there. So people just don't use them.
Pocket parks would be HOA associated, right?
Yeah, these bikeways that were shown, these green lines, the bikeways and these internal green parks will be owned and maintained by the HOA. The larger open space and trail networks down here by the Bear Creek is envisioned to be the city owned and maintained.
And from the city, I think we're just further ahead. If we get rid of some of the smaller parks, combine them in one big one, it becomes a community gathering center, a place we can do stuff as a city, and a safe place for residents to gather as
Yeah,
well.
it's good. That's great feedback. The other thing on, just so you know, we've been working with the Bamberger Ranch and the PRI folks. They do have a fairly large, commercial, center down south of us for the bigger box. So we were scaling ours down just hypothetically, kind of anticipating what they're doing. So we're not gonna we're not competing with what I think they're doing. This would be a little bit smaller commercial versus the bigger box commercial, I think would be at the front runner station and on both sides of I-15 at that future interchange.
Yeah, I mean, we're just looking at, it's a little blurry, but 30 something acres of commercial. About that.
30, about 34 acres.
Yeah, and that's about the size of Walmart and its parking lot, so I just don't know. That just seems small.
One of the real problems that we want to solve with the stationary fund, there was only about 30 acres there in that stationary fund. I've not seen what PRI is wanting to do, but that was a stickler for us with only 30 acres. I mean, Smith Marketplace is a 20. So with some side stores there, but so I would echo that concern.
Hey, great feedback. Yeah.
I have a
we'll
question
work on
too.
that.
And then I have some after her.
How well are mixed use villages actually doing? Because I know the ones I've been to, everybody still gets in their cars and drives someplace else. And I just think it's something that maybe 20, 30, 50 years down the road when you can't get on roads anymore, I just think because we're still not at that population where we would ever I just don't see people staying in their areas. I don't, even when I go to Arizona, I don't see them doing that. They still get in their cars and drive to other shopping areas. So even though the shopping areas are right there, they still go other places. This is something I've just been noticing. I mean, I was really into that, like, that's a really good idea, but I think it goes along with wherever you're at. And I'm not gonna say it's a political thing, but I feel that, like, our area, we like more open space than, like, your bike ride thing, that's great. But I'm hoping that we have our trails by then and we can ride our own trails, all over the mountain and up to Salem and the Spanish Fort. I mean, it's a great idea, but I don't feel it's the population that we have here. But I mean, I was wondering why you picked a California firm.
That's just for the architectural design guidelines, just for the houses and the mixed use, townhomes and things like that. We're a local firm, so we're still leading the planning efforts here from Utah.
But do they have I mean, could we go someplace outside of California? I mean, I'm sorry, California thinks different than Utah does.
Yeah, again, the pattern book could be coordinated with your staff and with the city. We'll be doing it together. You'll see the architectural styles that we're bringing to the table. The other big benefit with our team is we're not builders. We're not, having one builder that's gonna build 100 of the same type of housing in one area. We have a consortium of 5 builders. We've actually interviewed 30 builders. We've narrowed it down to 5 builders that we're now negotiating with. And each one of these neighborhoods is gonna be a distributed lot strategy, so only one builder will only be allowed to build 2 or 3 units side by side at one time, so you're not gonna get a whole neighborhood of one townhome or one product type. So we're looking for that diversity as well, the pedestrian scale, to make it as authentic and context sensitive to Payson as possible. So, but all good comments. We're struggling with those same questions in our own minds. That's why we're here, just open up that discussion.
I feel like a lot of, builders or developers are eyeing Payson and forgetting that we're a small town and we're rural mostly. And they're going, you guys included, are going straight to urban, and we're not ready for that. None of us want that. It looks, I can see a few problems with the roads, a couple of malfunction junctions. I also, the pictures are beautiful, but they look utopian in nature and too idealistic. That's not how it's gonna be. I know that Daybreak up in Salt Lake County, that was their idea, and they're having major problems up there. And that's a bigger area in Salt Lake County. We're not that.
Yeah.
We need a lot less density. I don't want it to look like eventually inner city Sesame Street, because that's what some of the buildings look like. I think, yeah, you can put it in a picture and make it look all AI and beautiful, but I'm really getting tired of hearing the term a walkable community, because that's not what our community is. We like going into our trucks or cars and driving. People keep saying, oh, let's honor the local heritage and the culture and stuff, and then I don't see any of that in the pictures.
Okay.
We're a small town feel here. We're not a city, and that looks like it's gonna be a city, and you can go anywhere to any cities, and you can tell that that's what they try to do, and then none of the mixed use stores are open. It looks a lot like Provo Riverwoods, and Provo Riverwoods has had problems keeping stores and restaurants, and they've lost a lot of high-end stores there because they couldn't keep them because the community couldn't support that, because that's not what we were. It looks gorgeous, but I'm gonna be tough, go back to the drawing board. And I would ask, how have you created communities like this anywhere else to completion?
I have in my career.
Where?
In Phoenix, Arizona, I created it almost exactly the same size. It was about 1,000 acres, fairly similar dimensions. It took about 20 years to construct. It's totally completed now.
Where's that at?
It's in Marley Park, Surprise, Arizona.
Where's that?
It's
called Marley Park in Surprise, Arizona.
Marley Park.
Mhm.
How long do you think this project, you say here for the long, how long would it take to develop it?
We don't know exactly, but I would say it could be a 20-year project to build out. I don't know about this particular phase, but 1,000 acres, and depending on the economy and recessions and
That's the problem. We don't know what's gonna happen.
things like that.
It's
But,
just,
yeah.
this doesn't preserve our heritage and our farm feel here in Payson to me at all. It looks beautiful, but it just, in my opinion, does not fit us. And, you know, maybe spend extended amounts of time here with the people here on our main street, in our community, and get to know what we really want and who we really are. Because I just feel like, yeah, we have all this open space and now all these developers are like, oh, we're gonna change this and we're gonna make it this, but that's not what we want.
Well, appreciate it, and, yeah, these are the things, this is what we need to hear, we just need to kind of start that discussion, figure out what we are, and then, you know, definitely work with the city and staff. We're in here for the long haul, we're here to partner with you and have these hard discussions, figure out how to really make this truly Payson. We do care about Payson, we see what you're doing downtown, we definitely want to be part of that, do what you guys are doing.
One other learning opportunity for us is look at a neighboring city, Vineyard, and some of the street and parking issues they're having by similar developments they've allowed. Now they're having to go back and figure out what to do to get a lot of these cars off the streets. And so if we can just massage and encourage the village, we need adequate parking for the housing. It's very important.
And we've done our due diligence in, like Brian said, in providing high density housing. That's not what we do. We want middle class income, single family homes with yards and more than 3-bedroom homes. We've got so many 3-bedroom apartments, homes, it's saturated with that, and we need more creativity in that
We're
area.
definitely trying to explore all these options with our builders, come up with what we call attainable housing. You know, make sure that it's attainable for Utah County, and we understand, you know, that is a challenge, and we just want to work through those challenges with you.
So I have a few comments. So one is we have to remember where this is located, and then this kind of goes along with our master plan. It's between a railroad and the interchange or the interstate, and it's close to a front runner station. So we have to kind of remember where this project is. It's not specifically our farmland and things like that. So I think that's one thing we need to take into account is the location. I think that well, I know it's farmland, right? But I'm just saying the location that it is, it's never gonna be farmland in 20 years from now, just because where it is. And so I think we need to take that into account. I think the density is too high. But I think that on the purple, the industrial by the freeway, I think that ought to be highway commercial. You look at, that's prime spots for anybody. And I wouldn't want industrial building there. I'd want highway commercial, because I think that's one of the first things you'll be able to get in this area probably is highway commercial, and maybe a little more commercial up by the interchange, but look at some density but we do have to remember where this location is. And it does we've worked a lot on our master plan. I think you've looked at that quite a bit, and it kind of goes along with that. Probably not quite that density, but the rest of it, I looked at the master plan and it kind of follows that. So anyway, I think you guys are really doing the due diligence. You're putting a lot of effort into this, and I know you're going to listen to the staff and the council and the planning and zoning and just try to make this a good project, and you'll listen. So thank you very much.
Okay, council, any other comments? This is just the very beginning, so, as you say, you're in for the long haul. I think all of us are here for the long haul, whether we're on council or not.
That's great. Thank you. We appreciate your time and your feedback, and we'll continue to keep working on it.
Good.
Even if it's tough, I hope you can take it.
Oh, what's that?
Even if it's tough,
No, yeah.
we have some tough comments.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Payson has a lot of your comments are on point, and I do love the community in a small town feel. And, you know, let's just find the balance that works for everybody.
I think that's what we need about it,
Yeah.
because we know we're gonna have to change a little bit, but we don't want wholesale change.
Yeah.
You don't
And I
want to be
think,
erased.
I think in the end, we want the same thing, you know, we don't want things that don't work, you guys don't want things that don't work, and we just have to figure out, you know, retail can be tough because it needs the rooftops and the right kind of retail, and so that's what we're trying to do. But let's, you know, we'll continue to work with our team and work with you guys and work with the staff, and I'm confident we're gonna come up with something great.
I don't believe we're against you, we're for you, but we wanna work together like you said.
We're more loyal to our community.
Yeah.
than anything.
And we appreciate that. That's the way it should be.
Thank you for coming to us early in the planning stages.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Every motion that we adjourn.
Well, you probably sure did guess that.
I'm gonna second that motion
Okay.
because it was mine.
All in favor say aye. Thank you.